division rivals. First pitch outside for a ball. You mentioned Ponson having the best year, and when a pitcher has a record like that, it's no surprise he has had much more confidence and much more command of his fastball. Fouled out of play, 1-1.
And then he starts to use it more.
Exactly.
And he throws it to spots a lot better than he has in the past. He's worked with a changeup. He also throws a splitter. His slider is a pretty good one. And he throws hard enough to strike people out.
Soriano leads off the game with a single.
He said he's now hitting 5 consecutive games, and he and Jeter lately have been making things happen. Kitty said this pitch is out over the plate, and that's how you're supposed to hit it, to the opposite field. Even a hitter that's on the top of the plate is the way that Soriano is. You can still hit balls with authority to the opposite field.
Derek Jeter steps in, has his average now up to 275. I say up, that's low by Derek's standards, but he was off to quite a slow start.
You know, Kitty, what's interesting, we mentioned this is the first meeting between the Orioles and the Yankees this season. This is the furthest that these two teams have ever gone into a season without playing each other. So they're going to see a lot of each other in the second half of the season.
Jeter shows bunt, that's fouled off. In a way, that's good. If the Orioles were in contention, that would be very exciting for the fans to see you hook up with your division rivals. But unfortunately for Baltimore fans, this is not a contending team anymore. Mike Hargrove on the right had his team playing almost 500 ball the first 6 weeks of the season. Since then, they've fallen off, and it's like, what's stuck in the turnstiles? If people can't get in, we're used to seeing a full house here every night. Soriano on the run, and that's fouled out of play, 1-2.
Yeah, I think one thing that the scheduling this year for the Orioles was misleading. They did not play a team that appeared in the playoffs last year until the 7th week of the season. They played the Angels on May the 30th. As we look at the standings now, and if you go back to June the 1st of this month, the Orioles were only 4.5 games behind the Yankees. Now the scheduling's getting tougher for them, and they find themselves 15 games behind.
Soriano with a modest lead. The Yankees with a 3.5 game lead over the Red Sox. They'll have a holiday 4-game series against the Red Sox at the stadium starting next Friday. This is just a quick 3-day road trip. High fastball, throws it past Jeter. First out of the ball game as Jeter's down on strikes.
Oh, he mentioned Ponson has enough fastball to blow it by hitters from time to time, and he goes upstairs with this one up and in. Might have been a slider. It had a little bit of a break to it, but it didn't have enough break to get back in the strike zone. I think Jeter saw the break, then went to swing, but the ball did not curve over the plate.
Tough pitch to catch up with. Here's a guy who's been catching up with most of them lately, Jason Giambi, and with the setting here in Baltimore, summers here, you look for a lot of home runs in this series. Outside for a ball.
Yeah, during the weekend series, the Phillies were in here. They swept the Orioles in 3 games, and Jim Thome made this his personal playground, and he's the same type of hitter as Giambi. 11 home runs in June, tied for first in the American League, 34 RBIs, first in the American League.
Cutter on the outside corner for a ball and a strike. Looks like that's what Ponson is starting to do with his fastball, a little bit like Mariano Rivera's. He has reached base in 36 consecutive games.
His career high is 39. Did that a few years back.
Soriano, who was picked off in last night's game, was leaning there, like he might have had designs on trying to steal second.
The way Giambi's been hitting, he's been hitting the ball well to the opposite field lately. And we mentioned the fact that his eye problem is cleared up and he can wait longer on pitches. And here at Camden Yards, it's only 364 to the gap in left center. And that was a prime target for Jim Thome the other day. formerly of the Cleveland Indians. It's out here in left center. It's only 364 feet.
Yeah, when you come from Shea Stadium and Yankee Stadium, the hitter's eyes light up when they see that convenient target out there. That pitch just outside, and it's 2-1. I think at game time, this is about as small a crowd as I have seen between these two teams in maybe the last decade. This is the 11th year of Camden Yards. Hard to believe.
Well, they've had, I think it's 5 years of declining attendance.
Soriano on the go. Pitch is high, and Fordyce's throw caroms into center field, but it's cut off there by Roberts.
Soriano lately has been on a stolen base binge. This will be his league-leading 24th steal of the year. Fordyce not known for his ability to throw. Got a pretty good pitch to throw. Pitch up in the middle of the plate, and the ball is in the dirt, thrown down to second. Soriano got a decent jump, and his wheels will get him into second base and into scoring position for Jason Giambi.
3-1 count now. Ponson and Fordyce have the option with first base open of pitching around him. 3-1, pretty good looking hitter's pitch there. That is like Jason was looking for something out away from him, or maybe not expecting a strike.
You know what, Kitty? That's a good point. And because sometimes as a hitter, you can outthink yourself. You know, with a base open, 3-1 count, you say he's going to throw me a breaking ball or a changeup.
Yeah.
And if he does, it's going to disappear. Well, he throws him a fastball and he takes it.
Yeah, he almost had the bat put down before the ball went through the strike zone. Now the count's full. Just outside, and Giambi has now reached base 37 consecutive games. Hot, steamy night for Sidney Ponson.
Well, let's see what happened here with Jason Giambi. First pitch, outside, ball one, looked like a sinker. Breaking ball to the corner, 1-1. Fastball up and away, ball two. Breaking ball, there's the steal, 3 balls and a strike. I want to see this next pitch. Was it a fastball? Yeah, he just took it. And then a breaking ball misses outside for ball 4. I guarantee you he was looking for a slider or a changeup.
It was right there down and in. Here's Ruben Sierra, who's made quite a comeback and a productive one for the Yankees. Fouls this over the third base dugout. A lot of talk on our pregame show. For those of you who didn't catch it, was on the disappearance of Bubba Trammell. Trammell left the club for personal reasons, and he has been placed on the restricted list. Susan Waldman asking Joe Torre, well, you know, if he came back, could you manage him again? Well, here's a case right here. Ruben Sierra was not, Joe was not one of his favorites when Ruben was here before, but he's back in a Yankee uniform and he's been productive.
6 for his last 16.
Outside.
And you see that movement on the fastball. That is something that Ponson did not do much of in the past. And I think the light is starting to go on for him. He used to try and throw everything 96, 97 and blow it right by hitters, straight in the zone. Well, hitters were turning that around. Now he's trying to go for ground balls with a movement on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Like an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2. That's the book on Sierra. Keep everything away from him. Ruben does his damage on pitches that are inside.
Looked like he had the splitter grip. Well, that one sailed nicely.
Only 2 first-inning runs allowed this year by Ponson. That's one thing that'll make your record 10-4. Reaches and fouls that out of play. We'll do it again. That was as Fordyce trots out to talk with Ponson. That is another thing that was so impressive about young Brandon Clausen in his first start for the Yankees, and it appears he will get another one. Is he had John Flaherty set up right in the middle of the plate, wasn't moving to either corner. He just said, here it is, here's my fastball, let the movement take care of itself, and it was a pleasure to watch him pitch. See, now Fordyce is setting up out there. You get a reaction from the crowd like he never moved the glove, but he's set up outside the strike zone, and if you're set up outside there and you catch it there, that's a ball. There's John Flaherty. You see that he's saying the same thing. Woo, that looked like a strike. In the dirt. And now the count is full.
Decision for Joe Torre with 3-2 and 1 out. Does he start the runners, try to stay out of the double play? I would think with Soriano as the lead runner, you might see them move.
And if you're Fordyce and it's a strikeout, the guy you want to go after is Giambi at second and not Soriano at third. Quick pitched him and lost him. Really rushed that one, and now Sierra draws a walk, and the Yankees have him loaded with 1 out here in the first for the American League Player of the Week, Hideki Matsui. He's had a couple magical moments at the stadium with the bases loaded.
And high praise from his manager. He said if there's anybody he'd like to have up with the men on base right now, it is this man, Hideki Matsui. And you can see what he's done in his career with the bases loaded.
Soriano at third with a single. Giambi and Sierra drew walks. Towards short. For 1, no chance for 2. Cruz to Roberts gets the lead runner Sierra, and Soriano scores the game's first run. Credit Matsui with his 62nd RBI, and it's 1-0 Yankees.
Looked like Ponson threw him that little sinker, ball moving away, and Matsui, little roller to short. Deivi Cruz comes up with the ball not hit hard enough for the Orioles to turn to double play. And Matsui safe at first, and the Yankees on the scoreboard. And Ponson's given up, what is his third?
Just his third first inning run. Here's Posada with runners at the corners. Outside for a ball. It'd be interesting to see with Matsui. We've talked about his change since that Cincinnati series where he started moving his hands back. Now he's going to see pitchers that he has never seen before. He's not seen any of these Oriole pitchers. That's grounded towards second. A couple of high hops to Roberts. And Ponson escapes the bases loaded jam, allowing just 1 run. Andy Pettitte will take the mound with a 1-run lead when we come back to Baltimore right after this.
Thursday on Yes, it's a night that'll make Yankees fans grin and Red Sox nation groan. First at 8, go inside the rivalry that Ruth built. Then relive Bucky Dent's famous home run in the '78 playoff game, followed by Yankeeography Babe Ruth. Starts Thursday at 8, only on Yes. On the Yes Network center stage, future Hall of Famer Roger Clemens.
You have an unbelievable run in Boston. Dan Duquette says that you're in the twilight of your career.
Taking a while for the sun to set, I guess.
Center stage premieres Sunday at 4:30.
Only on Yes.
Welcome back to beautiful Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Yankees take the field. Let's check out the Baltimore Orioles starting lineup presented by Dodge. Brian Roberts at the top. Luis Matos, the youngster, having an outstanding year. Melvin Moore at the last minute was inserted into the lineup. He'll bat third. He's the league's leading hitter. Then Jeff Conine, Jay Gibbons, and Tony Batista. The bottom third, B.J. Surhoff, Deivi Cruz, who is on quite a streak, and Brooke Fordyce. And Cruz has hit Pettitte very well during his career.
Speaking of Andy Pettitte, this will be his 17th start. He's been on a roll of late. He's been winning in successive contests. 8-6 record. ERA of 4.80. More than a hit per inning. 11 home runs for Andy Pettitte. 24 walks, 84 strikeouts. The Yes Scouting Report on Andy Pettitte. He just loves yard work. He's 9-2 here at Camden Yards. How about this? His strikeouts per 9 innings are up 7.9, and 9 unearned runs. Shows you how much he needs his defense. He's given more unearned runs than any Yankee pitcher. So they've made some errors behind Andy.
And the Yankees went the first month of the season. They had only allowed 1 unearned run. And since that time, the defense has not been quite as good. They've now allowed 30 unearned runs. Brian Roberts steps in from the right side of the plate. And first pitch outside for a ball. Getting playing time because of the looks like could be a season-ending injury to Jerry Hairston, who was the regular second baseman. A foot injury. For strike, 1-1.
Yeah, Hairston went out with a broken foot. Roberts came up, and within the first week, he hit about 2 grand slams. It ties him with Soriano Matsui for the league lead.
Outside, 2-1.
Roberts is a switch hitter. He's a better hitter from the left-hand side of the plate. He hasn't driven in a run batting right-handed, but he's hitting 28 of 35 since his recall.
Good breaking ball, 2-2. If that's the Pettitte cutter, the Oriole hitters could be in for a long night. That one, that was very Ron Guidry-like.
Oh, you bring up yet another name of a pitcher that tough to hit.
Laid off that, and the count is full.
Well, he threw one down there, and Roberts chased it. He was going to see if he'd go for it again.
Couple of hops towards shortstop where Jeter scoops and throws to Giambi in time to get the speedy Roberts one away. Check out the Yankees in the field behind Andy Pettitte.
Well, from third to first, you have Ventura, Jeter, Soriano, and Giambi. From left to right in the outfield, Garcia, Matsui, and Mondesi. Jorge Posada doing the catching for Andy Pettitte. A career .966 fielding percentage for Karim Garcia in left field. Recently acquired by the Yankees from Cleveland.
Probably part of the reason that Bubba Trammell left the club, although he was penciled in the lineup last night. Garcia getting a lot more of the playing time along with Juan Rivera as Luis Matos takes a strike. He's starting to play up to the advanced billing from the last couple of years. Healthy. Change up low, 1-1.
Yeah, various injury problems have set Matos back, but when we first saw him, Kitty, he was all glove and no bat. Well, they called him up this time from the minor leagues after they let Gary Matthews Jr. go, sent him to San Diego. And Matos immediately, upon his recall, hitting 15 straight games.
Average at 376, 346. Rather. Pulls that foul, 1-2. And some of the advanced reports, and I can see that when you look at him in the batter's box, style-wise, he resembles Moises Alou. He's kind of that kind of player. Good power to the gaps.
Good analogy.
There is one headed for the gap. Mondesi won't catch that. Matos is going to have an extra base hit. He's going to try for 3. And he'll make it easily. A one-out double by Luis Matos. Triple, rather.
Well, much in the way that Soriano and Jeter can run at the top of the Yankee order, Matos and Roberts have brought some youthful enthusiasm to this Oriole team. Looked like a hanging breaking ball, and Matos splits the gap in right center. Here's where you make your decision. Yep, he's on his way to third. And it's a good decision with one out. He gets over there with a triple.
Tying run in scoring position with one out as you see Mondesi track down the triple. And the league's leading hitter, Melvin Mora, fouls that straight back. The Orioles lineup not complete until about 10 minutes before game time because of a hand injury to Melvin. 357 hitter. He was hit on the wrist by Greg Maddux, I believe, in the recent Atlanta series. Saw a hand specialist today. Nothing more than a bruise. Swing there, 0-2. You think of Melvin as a utility player, but getting a chance to play every day is showing he might be more than that.
Play every day. It might not be the same position, but he plays just about every day. And you know, you mentioned the fact he's leading the American League in hitting. Last year, if you recall, he had about 19 home runs going into the last month of the season, and he was swinging like he won number 20. Right. It was an arbitration year, and he never got it. His batting average plummeted. This year, he's using the whole field a lot more.
Deep to center. Matsui on the run, and will put it away, and that'll get Matos home easily. We are tied at 1 on the sacrifice fly by Melvin Mora, his 37th RBI. And
Mike Hargrove was the Oriole manager, was lamenting the fact that he had a as he said, 360 hitter on the bench, couldn't put him in the game because of injury. And we're going to watch the fly ball to deep right center. Watch Matos' reaction at the bottom of your screen. The ball's in the air. He knows he has to go and tag up. His foot has to remain there until Matsui catches the ball. It does, and he will score easily on the fly ball to fairly deep right center, and it's a tie ball game.
And here's the veteran Jeff Conine. Outside for a ball.
I had a nice talk with Jeff before the game. He was a member of the '97 Marlins that won the World Series. A string of World Series titles the Yankees had. You know, 96, 98, 99, 2000. The only other team to win a world title was the Marlins in '97. And I asked Jeff about, was he aware of the fact that they were going to break up the team at the end of the year?
3-0.
And Jeff said Wayne Huizenga was the owner. He mentioned that he was going to sell the team, but he didn't say anything about breaking up the team. And within a week after the parade, they traded Moises Alou, who was in the first year of a deal. So they kind of told Jeff that that was it. And he said it was very disappointing. And he think the fact that they broke up that team, that's when they were just starting, fans were starting to grab onto the Marlins in Florida. And it's been downhill ever since.
No question. 3-1 pitch fouled off. Now the count is full with 2 out here in the first.
Yeah, and when I think about that particular World Series title, I think it's one of the most hollow in team sports, where they didn't keep the team together to go on a nice run.
Yeah, it was one of my more disappointing World Series to watch. Conine down on strikes. Posada hangs on to the foul tip. The Orioles on Matos triple and Morris sacrifice fly tie the game. After 1, we're tied at 1. Tied at 1. We head to the top of the second. Each team with a hit. Robin Ventura will lead it off for the Yankees. Pop foul, strike 1. Robin had the weekend off against the Mets to rest up for this series. Mel Stottlemyre and Andy Pettitte discussed that first inning. That's outside. It's 1-1.
Remember Robin last year here early in the season when the Yankees and the Orioles met in April. He had hit a home run. They won a game 1-0 here at Camden Yards.
As you can see by the graphic, he is in a slump and he waves at that one. It's 1-2. I think that's why Joe gave him a rest coming into this series. You'll see 3 right-hand pitchers, and this is an awfully good hitter's ballpark. In the dirt, 2-2.
And one thing they've tried to do here, though, and it's much in the same way they did at Tiger Stadium and Wrigley Field, they've let the infield grass grow a little higher. So if the pitchers get a ground ball, they could get a break here. It slows things down.
That's fair. Wow.
That's fair?
Yeah. Since it's not too hard if you get one in the air to hit it out, let that grass grow a bit. Another full count as that pitch just missed. Pulled foul.
And when you look at the Orioles infield defensively, you know, Conine and David Cruz and Batista, while they all might be sure-handed, they don't have all that much lateral range. Right. So if you let the grass grow, that helps them out.
Off-speed pitch, and Ventura down on strikes. Well, yesterday was quite a magical moment here at Oriole Park. It's the 20th anniversary of the Orioles defeating the Philadelphia Phillies in 5 games in the '83. And look who's scoring a run. That had to be a neat moment for you to come back and be reunited with your teammates of 20 years ago. Yeah, that lady who greeted me there was Judy, who works in the front office here. She's worked here for years, and you know, every day I used to come to the ballpark and said, "Have a good night now." And you know, when I did, you know, she was very happy, and it was nice to see her again too. You looked all right in that uniform. You know, not the way I used to. I got a lot of compliments, but you can imagine what I looked like 20 years ago. Oh yeah, sleek as a greyhound. Oh yeah. Pitch to Mondesi is outside, and it evens the count at 1-1. Yeah. The Orioles won that series 4-1, and you beat the Phillies yesterday 5-2. Yeah, we had you know, it wasn't so much the game itself, but it was just being around the guys again and telling his old stories, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment. Home runs got longer. Yeah, but we couldn't hit them out of here now. You know, it's just the home run hitting contest was won by Rick Dempsey, of all people. And on the hands popped up on the right side. Playable for Conine. Mondesi retired 2-away here in the top of the second. And a look at Ken Singleton's plaque here in the Oriole Hall of Fame. Number 29. Now, Chris Singleton, when he was here, wore 29. Does Justin wear 29?
Justin wears 11. That's what he's always
going to
wanted.
establish his own identity. There's some of those Orioles. Scotty McGregor, Eddie Murray, who will go in the Hall of Fame this year. Jim Palmer, who was in the booth next to us.
You just saw a shot of Joe Altobelli, the manager. He was here with his wife, Pat, for the weekend. Joe lives in Rochester, New York, and watches the S Network up in Rochester.
Karim Garcia, the number 9 hitter, takes a strike on the outside corner.
And there's Rick Dempsey.
Yeah. And Jim Palmer.
Yeah.
He got him out 1-2-3 yesterday. If he didn't, he would have heard about it from me.
He didn't tell you?
Ball and a strike. That's Garcia's average combined this year with the Yankees in Cleveland. He is 3 for 6 as a Yankee. Did he check? I didn't even ask, so I guess he did.
Palmer got a win in that World Series in relief, and the only pitcher ever to win a World Series game in 3 different decades. There's that pitch just outside, and Garcia did check.
Swung at that one, 2-2.
And one other thing I found out, the '83 Orioles won 3 games on the road in that World Series. There's only been one team to win the World Series and do that since, and that was the '96 Yankees, who won 3 games in Atlanta.
And they went in there down 2 and swept them. Inside, and another full count.
When you think about it, that's quite an accomplishment, winning 3 on the road in the World Series.
Well, when you figure only 2 teams have done it in 20 years. Strike 3 call. Catches the outside corner. Garcia down on strikes. Ponson retires the Yankees in order in the second. Pair of strikeouts. Baltimore coming to bat. Jay Gibbons will lead it off against Andy Pettitte. Did we come back? We're tied at 1.
Be a part of history and join the New York Yankees fan club. The Centennial Package is now available for only $26. It includes a welcome letter, birthday card, special ticket discounts, commemorative items, and much more. It's for fans of all ages. Call 1-800-GO-YANKS to join. That's 1-800-GO-YANKS.
All right, back at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. A look at the downtown skyline here, and it's a good one. Somewhere back there is that famous Broma. There it is.
There it is.
Broma Seltzer Tower.
Just when you're getting a little upset, that's where you hit, downtown Baltimore.
Michael Kay could have used that last week. Jay Gibbons takes a pitch inside for a ball from Pettitte. Pulled out towards Soriano. Will underhand flip to Giambi in time. Gibbons is retired, 1 away in the second.
That second baseman has a difficult call on plays like that. You don't want to throw it overhand. You're so close to the first baseman, but you know you have a decent runner going down the line, so you got to get it over there quickly. The quickest way is underhanded with authority, and that's just what Soriano did.
Tony Batista with the unusual batting stance will step in. 15 home runs and 54 RBIs. Low for a ball. He is the epitome. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
I found out the genesis of this style of hitting. Batista was playing winter ball in the Dominican Republic, and he was struggling so badly that he said, I'm just going to do something off the wall. And I guess that particular night he got some hits, and he has stayed with it ever since.
Fouled out of play, 2-1. You never know when you'll find that trigger. That's something that, even if it's psychological, it was in the old ballpark where you played for many years Memorial Stadium when the Oriole great left-hander Dave McNally. It's hit deep to left. Garcia is there on the track, and he'll put it away. Two-away here in the bottom of the second. Dave McNally was playing catch with Andy Etchebarren, and he was having trouble with his slider. You know how players play catch in front of the dugout before the game, and he threw one, and Etch said to him, "How'd you hold that ball? Boy, that had the good spin of a slider." McNally threw it again a couple of times, and suddenly he went out to the mound, and he was a 20-game winner for the next few years. In fact, to help pitch the Orioles to that World Series win in '66. It's low for a ball to the veteran B.J. Surhoff. 4-14 during this 8-game hitting streak. And he puts the bat on the ball. Usually tough against lefties as well. 1-1.
Tough to strike out. Surhoff in his second tour of duty with the Orioles. Signed as a free agent.
Up the middle. Make that a 9-game hitting streak. A 2-out single for Surhoff.
Yeah, Surhoff has been a good sign for the Orioles. They got him for the pedestrian price of about $1 million. And he's been very beneficial, hitting over 300. Spent some time on the DL with a bad hamstring. He would have more at-bats, but veteran player who's trying to help out this ball club, help them turn things around.
And likes it here in Baltimore. Here's Deivi Cruz. Curve in for a strike. Cruz in the 8th spot. Has a 5-game hitting streak, but against Andy Pettitte in his career, for some reason, he's almost a .500 hitter. First strike, 0-2.
Yeah, Cruz is one of those hitters that he's going to swing the bat. 256 at-bats. He has walked 4 times. That's a lower clip than Soriano. I mean,
but he and Jose Reyes are the Mets back-to-back. And that, you know, nowadays with all the detailed stats available, that was one of the first things we looked at as pitchers when the stat sheets would come into the clubhouse. You'd pick up the stat sheet and say, how many times has this guy walked? You know, how many times has he struck out? That usually tells you a lot about what kind of hitter he is. In the dirt, for example, Steve Garvey, who was a great hitter, near Hall of Famer. I remember it was August one year pitching against the Dodgers. I pick up the stat sheet. Garvey's walked 11 times. So you get him 2-0, and you say, well, he doesn't want to walk. And you throw it somewhere near the strike zone. You get those kind of guys to swing the ball.
Probably 9 of those walks were intentional.
Maybe. There goes Surhoff. And the pitch swung on and missed. Cruz down on strikes to end the inning. Second strikeout of the night for Andy Pettitte to complete the first meeting of the season between these two teams. And we are tied at 1 in Baltimore. Alfonso Soriano will lead off the third when we come back.
Catch up on the day's sports talk with the best of Mike and the Mad Dog. It's a 1-hour version of the area's #1 rated sports talk show featuring the hottest topics, maddest moments, and most in-depth interviews. The best of Mike and the Mad Dog after the postgame only on Yes.
Alfonso Soriano will lead it off for the Yankees here in the top of the third. Swinging at the first pitch, fouls it over the Baltimore dugout into the seats for strike 1. Soriano had a base hit. Eventually scored the Yankee run in the top half of the first inning. Also picked up his 24th stolen base of the year. 1-1 ball game, top of the third. Pitch is in the dirt. It's a ball and a strike on Soriano from Sidney Ponson. Kenny, have we mentioned the fact that it is now Sir Sidney?
I was thinking about that. You know, Sidney doesn't have an outstanding curveball. When you had an outstanding curve, they used to call it Lord Charles. But in Sidney's case, maybe that's his fastball. He is now Sir Sidney, courtesy of the Queen of the Netherlands.
Pretty good breaking ball right there, and it's 1-2. That was on April 29th. He was knighted or decorated by Queen Beatrice of the Netherlands. Line drive, foul. Eugene Kingsale, also of Aruba, was given that title. They both had to take a day off and fly back to their home country of Aruba. And you know, Sidney said that there also was they got a list of ways you're supposed to comport yourself as a knight.
Let me hear about this.
So Sidney said, if anybody knows me, they know that's going to be difficult for me to live up to.
Right.
Personal behavior. 2-2 on Soriano. Ground ball towards short, and the sure-handed Deivi Cruz is up with it, throws the first, and there's one down here at the top of the third.
Yeah, that's been quite an area for the Orioles to scout some talent. All of those players at one time or another, and I think they're all original signees of the Orioles. Kingsale now with the Tigers. Calvin Maduro, I believe, is with the Cardinals in spring training. Cardinals with the Marlins.
Here's Derek Jeter. Derek struck out swinging. Comes into the night with a 3-game hitting streak. And Ponson misses outside for ball 1. The captain of the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Slider, rolled foul down the third base side, just near Willie Randolph.
You can usually tell when a pitcher is having success. Now Ponson will take a little breather right now because of the heat, but when you're 10-4, you're a little more sure of what you want to do and where you want to throw it. A lot less time between pitches, a lot less indecision.
Inside for a ball. At the tail end of spring training, I was flying from Tampa International to Baltimore, and I had the opportunity to sit right next to Sidney on the flight. We had a nice long talk, and he was talking about his free agent season coming up. And he wanted to have a good year, and he's off to a great start. Jeter nubs one foul. The count remains 2-2.
Did you give him your meal on that flight?
In this day and age, you don't get much to eat. There's only peanuts, but
he's not going to turn down too many dinners.
Well, Sidney was talking about his impending free agency, and he wanted to have a good season. And since then, the Orioles have started opening talks concerning a long-term contract. Upstairs, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. But now you got halfway through the season. If you're a player, go the rest of the way.
Let it go now. Well, he's going to shorten his night despite the success he's had this year with these 3-2 counts. He's had too many of them here in the first few innings in this kind of weather to pitch another complete game. He's got 3.
Full count now on Derek Jeter. Pitches on the way, and it's lined into center field for a base hit. A 1-out single for Jeter. He's aboard. And he represents the potential go-ahead run. Second hit of the night for the Yankees. Soriano with 1, and now Derek Jeter.
As sooner or later you fall behind good hitters, put them in hitting counts. 3-2, you have to come in with it. Right over the center of the plate, and Derek centered it into center field.
And Jeter with this base hit now has a 4-game hitting streak. He and Soriano have increased mild streaks. Soriano up to 5. And it brings up Jason Giambi, the streaking Giambi. Pitch is hit high in the air to short right field. Drifting back is Roberts. Coming on is Gibbons, the right fielder, who makes the play for out number 2. And I'll tell you what, he just missed that one.
That's one of those, you come back to the bench and you hold your thumb and your index finger about a 1/4 inch apart. Like Kenny said, that ball was right in the middle of the plate. And Giambi gets under it by about a 1/4 inch.
That one had warehouse written all over it if he connected. Just missed it. So 2 outs now. Jeter remains at first, and it brings up Ruben Sierra, who drew a walk back in the first inning. Over the corner for a called strike.
Back to that Giambi pitch. From the pitcher's standpoint, you turn that around. That's a positive. It shows you if you're willing to challenge hitters with your fastball, it's still difficult to time every one. You know, even when they're in the middle of the plate, they pop a lot of them up.
Fouled back by Sierra, and it's 0-2.
Jeff Weaver found that out yesterday after giving up the 3-run homer in the first to Burnitz. He settled down, retired 17 in a row, took control of the game.
Picked up his first win since May 15th. 2 strikes on Sierra with Jeter at first. Not going. That pitch is just outside for a ball. 1-2. Ponson in his career has not fared well against the Yankees. 2-7. And in fact, last year, the 2002 season, he was 0-3 against New York. Change-up hit on the ground to short. Cruz to his right is up with it. The long throw is just in time to get Sierra. And that will do it for the Yankees here in the top of the third. They leave a runner at the end of 2.5 on a beautiful night here in Baltimore. 1-1, Yankees and Orioles.
Come on in, Derek. I thought we discussed this thing and had it all worked out. You're our starting shortstop. How can you possibly afford to spend 2 nights dancing, 2 nights eating out, and 3 nights just carousing with your friends? Oh.
If you want to enjoy the New York nightlife, bring your Visa card, because Orso, Cheetah, and the Broome Street Bar don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. On Sunday, July 20th, all fans in attendance will receive a 1947 World Series pin from Chase. This is one of the final 2 pins in this memorable 26-piece collection. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness.
Fans, Sunday after the Yankees-Red Sox game right here on Yes. Stay tuned for a brand new center stage event as Michael Kay sits down for an hour of conversation with the Yankees' great Roger Clemens. Find out the Rockets' feeling about his move from Fenway to Toronto to the Bronx, his love of the pinstripes, and his thoughts on reaching 300 wins on the premiere of Center Stage Roger Clemens Sunday at 4:30 right after the Yankees and Red Sox right here on Yes. Number 9 hitter Brooke Fordyce leads off for the Orioles here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And takes ball 1. Slow hook drops in there for a strike. 1-1. Fordyce and Geronimo Gil have been splitting the catching just about right down the middle. This is the 37th start for Fordyce, and Gil has started 42 games. They have yet to settle on a number 1 catcher. That's low, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Gil is a better thrower, but you find out as Yankee fans, if you've watched the team when John Flaherty's behind the plate, how important it is to have a backup catcher that has a feel for calling the game.
2-2.
And I think the Orioles feel that maybe Fordyce is a little ahead of Gil from that standpoint. He doesn't have as strong an arm, but that's more important as a catcher than hitting. Here's Flaherty, who did such a good job catching youngster Brandon Clausen's first win.
Just outside, the count runs full. That's a good point, Kitty, because if you recall last year, the Orioles did not hit very much, but their pitching was okay. There's Flaherty, the catcher, and Clausen right behind him, the young left-hander. Bouncing ball over the mound, over the bag, and into center field for a base hit. So Brooke Fordyce with a leadoff single. Well, it's the halfway point through the season, and time to look at Kitty and I report card on the Yankees after 81 games. And Kitty on offense, well, we both agree on the offense. We give them each an A. On defense, slight difference. C+ for me, B- for Kitty. A for the starters, A- I give them. I had the Weaver factor was in there for me. Bullpen C, B- for me. And intangibles, A+ for Kitty and A for me. So almost about the same.
So let's see. If you were a sophomore, who do you want for your teacher? Who's a tougher?
Grader.
Well, the starters' record this year is actually a little bit better than it was last year. And the defense, they haven't given up quite as many unearned runs. The bullpen even though the ERA is almost a run higher, you know, one positive is that Juan Acevedo, as much as he struggled when Mariano came back, actually saved 5 games in April. So during April when they needed, he wasn't contributing, but overall the bullpen has been subpar.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on and missed. Posada's throw to second, and Fordyce is hung out to dry. The hit and run is foiled by Andy Pettitte and Jorge Posada.
Yeah, that's a nice release by Posada. The hit and run is on. He has to dig it out of the dirt and then throw over Roberts. But Fordyce not blessed with great speed, so Jorge knows if I just get it down to Soriano in time, the rest will be easy. Gary Tuck will be happy with that play. Gary Tuck, the Yankees catching coach.
In the dirt, Roberts wouldn't bite. It was well done by Posada with Roberts somewhat in his way. The thing for the bullpen for me, Kitty, is the fact that the Yankees are still 44-0 after leading after 8 innings.
Chris Hammond has really improved. Had a nice talk with him today early in the year, and I think the same thing was true with Matsui. You're with a new club, you're anxious to impress, and he said, you know, I was just so far out front with my motion, and now this year he's kind of, I mean, this last month he's laying back. In fact, I said, you being a changeup pitcher, it's almost like you were throwing the ball too hard the first part of the season, and now he's really started to become an effective setup man.
Payoff pitch on the way to Brian Roberts. Line drive, center field, base hit. Well, you get the count to 3-2, and the pitcher has to come in there, and the hitter can look for that fastball. And Roberts now 1 for 2 on the evening.
And here is that 3-2 pitch, right down the middle, just like Ponson's was to Jeter. Now, both pitchers have gone to some deep counts.
Well, unlike Fordyce, Baltimore now has a speedy runner at first in Roberts. Good matchup here. Matos takes a strike. Andy, of course, with the good pickoff move, has not allowed a stolen base or even a stolen base attempt in his last 10 starts until Fordyce just was thrown out.
And doesn't pick as many men off anymore because runners have finally gotten to the point where they're not going to take much of a lead.
There's a move over the first, and Roberts is back. I think with somebody like Roberts, though, he can kind of lay in the weeds, take a short lead, and try and have his momentum leaning towards second, and then take off. Another throw over the first. Some of the fans behind the Oriole dugout were yelling balk. But you almost hear that every time a left-hander throws a first. Ken Singleton along with Jim Kaat, opening game of a 3-game series here at Camden Yards. The Yankees and Baltimore tied at 1-1. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Each team scoring a run in the 1st inning. Luis Matos had a triple, the hitter at the plate right now, and scored the Baltimore run after the Yankees had put together a base hit by Soriano, a stolen base, and a force out for their run in the 1st inning. Matos lines one foul down the left field line. And that's a loud strike.
That triple is what's affecting Pettitte and Posada's pitching approach this time. You notice that now the pitches are inside. The hitter shows you that he can take that pitch out away from him and drive it the other way. Then they say, well, let's see if he can handle the inside pitch.
Ground ball towards second to Soriano. Could be 2. Jeter drops the ball, and all hands will be safe. Well, we talked about the fact when you're close to the guy who's going to receive the ball, you can't throw it too hard. And coming across the bag, I think the throw was a little low, and Jeter couldn't handle it.
And here's the throw Kenny's talking about. From that position, a little too much on it for Derek to handle at short range. And instead of getting what would have been an inning-ending double play, they get nobody.
Well, that throw was not too low. It was belt high. My mistake. And I think Jeter's going to be the one who gets the error.
Yeah, I think probably the speed of it just fooled Derek a little bit. It is charged as an error to Derek Jeter.
And that'll bring up Melvin Mora with 2 on and 1 out. And Andy Pettitte's curveball hangs high.
You really got a chance to see the ability of Roberto Alomar at second base. He had a play similar to that. It's like it barely hit his glove. He just backhanded it to the shortstop. Gave him a very soft throw, easy to handle.
1-0 on Mora, who drove in the Baltimore's run with a sac fly into first, and he takes one down low, ball 2-2-0. Mora leading the league in hitting with a .357 batting average. The runners are going. The pitch is in there for a strike, and it's a double steal. Well, the speediest of Oriole runners, Roberts and Matos, pull off the double steal, and Joe Torre's wondering what happened.
Yeah, they didn't give him a second look. Andy didn't. Posada had no chance. The Orioles guessed right, first of all, because it was a breaking ball. See, as soon as Pettitte looks the other way, they take off, and Posada didn't even attempt to throw.
So now 1 out, runners at second and third. The Yankees keep the infield back, willing to give up a run for a ground ball out. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2 to Melvin Mora.
It was swings like that is the reason that Mora was a question mark until game time. Since being hit in the hand, he struck out a couple times and feels like part of it might be is the injury to the wrist.
Bouncing ball to third. Ventura behind the bag has it. The long throw is in time. On that play, Roberts will score, and Baltimore takes a 2-1 lead. Mora drives in his second run without the benefit of a hit.
Yeah, another productive out. Breaking ball down in the strike zone. Roberts running on contact, and from that deep position, Ventura has but one play. Matos will hold his ground, and he gets Mora by a step at first.
So the error does prove costly as Baltimore scores. And right now they're going to put Jeff Conine on with a base open and face the left-handed hitting Jay Gibbons, who's on deck. Well, Conine, who struck out his first time up to end the first inning, will be intentionally passed here with the lesser experienced Gibbons on deck.
Gibbons, until this year, has not played a great deal against left-hand pitching. He's never played against Andy Pettitte, so the Yankees playing the percentage. Gibson against left-hand pitching, a .225 hitter, almost a .300 hitter against righties.
He is the Orioles' leading run producer with 59 runs batted in. Having a good year in that respect. And second on the team in home runs with 14. 2 on and 2 out. Off the end of the bat, rolled towards Jeter at short. The throw on the first is in time, and Baltimore's retired. Here in the bottom of the third inning, they do pick up a run on a couple of hits. There was one big error, and at the end of 3 full, Baltimore 2, the Yankees 1.
It's a night night that'll make Yankees fans grin and Red Sox nation groan. First at 8, go inside the rivalry that Ruth built. Then relive Bucky Dent's famous home run in the '78 playoff game, followed by Yankeeography Babe Ruth. Starts Thursday at 8, only on Yes.
Top of the fourth inning. That means it's time for our Aflac trivia question of the evening. Jason Giambi has hit 11 home runs in the month of June. Who was the last Yankee to hit 11 or more in any calendar month? We'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning. Hideki Matsui will step in, leading it off for the Yankees here in the fourth, and the first pitch from Sidney Ponson is down low for ball one. Matsui had his 62nd RBI of the year as he forced a runner with the bases loaded. And he drove in the Yankee run in the first. Takes that one in there for a strike, and it's 1-1.
That trivia question, Kenny, just to give fans a little hint. We talk often about Giambi becoming a Yankee when he hit that grand slam through the raindrops against Minnesota, kind of his defining moment.
Matsui hits a high fly ball to left center. Mora drifts over towards the gap, makes the catch, and there's one out.
The last guy to have a month like Jason's had, and here is the home run through the raindrops off Mike Trombley. Yankees were down 3, and they win it.
Yeah, pound on that home plate. Giambi's hit a lot of big homers for the Yankees since. Here's Jorge Posada, who grounded out his first time. Slider hits the inside corner for strike one.
Last guy that had a month like that, he became a Yankee. Sort of his defining moment of earning his stripes was right here in this ballpark. He hit a grand slam and an extra inning win.
Strike two to Posada. Ponson jumps ahead on the count. Off-speed pitch outside, ball one. Sidney Ponson on the mound. Larry Poncino behind the plate. Swing and a miss, and Posada's out of there. Fourth strikeout for Sidney Ponson.
Sidney trusting his stuff.
Number 19, the third baseman.
Yeah, he looks like he's in control tonight. Gets ahead of Posada, wastes one pitch, and then comes right back at him with what appeared to be a splitter. See the bottom fall out of that.
2 outs for Robin Ventura, and a breaking ball hits the corner. Call strike. Did he mention Ventura had not played in 3 games until tonight? Struck out in the second inning. Breaking ball downstairs, and it's 1-1 to the Yankee third baseman. On the ground to second for Brian Roberts. Yankees are going to go quietly here in the fourth. Nothing across. 3.5. Downtown Baltimore at Camden Yards. 2-1 Orioles.
Oh, look, it's the guy who falls. Fall now.
Oh, I don't really do that anymore. It's not like I got that insurance.
What insurance?
Aflac.
They pay you cash if you can't work when you get hurt. Not that I ever do. Aisle 5 under lingerie.
Price check.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac.
On the Yes Network center stage, future Hall of Famer Roger Clemens.
You have an unbelievable run in Boston. Dan Duquette says that you're in the twilight of your career.
Taking a while for the sun to set, I guess.
Center stage premieres Sunday at 4:30.
Only on Yes.
Back at Camden Yards, bottom of the fourth inning, and Tony Batista, the Baltimore third baseman, will lead off against Andy Pettitte. Batista flied out to Karim Garcia in left field in the second inning. Does a little dance, gets out of the way of a sharp cutter, down and in, and it's ball one. Batista leads All-American League third baseman and runs batted in with 54 and in dance steps.
Well, he must be a good hitter. Like Rick Downs says, you can't dance, you can't hit.
Hit hard by Batista into left field. A leadoff single here in the 4th inning. 5th hit for Baltimore against Andy Pettitte. A leadoff single. 2nd consecutive inning, Baltimore has come up with a leadoff single.
See where Posada wanted it on the outside part of the plate, and that ball caught the middle. So far tonight, the first 4 innings, even though it's a 2-1 ball game, the pitchers have consistently fallen behind hitters and had to come over the center of the plate.
Here's B.J. Surhoff, the designated hitter, and he takes a strike. Surhoff bounced a single into center field his first time up.
Perfect guy to hit and run with if you're Mike Hargrove. Surhoff hits left-handers so well, makes contact.
Former Tar Heel out of the University of North Carolina. Inside for a ball, 1-1.
I went up to him today and I said, well, do you know? He looked at me. I said, you remember, I went to a spring training game in Jupiter and he called me over the line. He said, well, when did you know? And he said, let me think. What did I ask you that about? I said, you wanted to know when it was time to hang it up. You know, because he's played for quite a while. I said, well, I'm the wrong guy to ask because I never hung it up. They just took my toys away and said I couldn't play. But I said, I think when you quit coming to the ballpark, when you quit looking forward to coming to the ballpark and you're not having fun, no matter how much money you're making, that might be the time. But, he's enjoying himself in a role here with the Orioles in the city he loves.
2-1 pitch on the way. Curve drops in neatly for a strike, 2-2. And Surhoff started back with the Brewers as a catcher, and he was a #1 pick overall out of the University of North Carolina. Has his number retired at the stadium down there on that beautiful campus, Chapel Hill. Slow curve again. This time it's popped up. Soriano drifts. Will he make the grass? Yes, he does, and he makes the catch for an out. Well, with 1 out and a man on, it's time for the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Jason Giambi has hit 11 home runs in the month of June. Who was the last Yankee to hit 11 or more in any calendar month? And the answer is Tino Martinez. Hit 11 in May of 1997. That was the year Tino hit 44 homers.
I think it might have been in June of '96 when he hit that grand slam here in Baltimore.
Here's Deivi Cruz, who struck out. It's a high fly ball deep to left center field. Garcia going back to the wall, and this one is gone. A home run for Deivi Cruz, and it's going to be 4-1 Baltimore. Now the umpire, third base umpire, James Hoy, ran out and signaled that the ball was indeed over the wall. Now a fan put a hand on it, and the ball came back over. We're going to get the benefit of a second look, as Joe Torre is going to say the ball was not over the fence. The fan reached over the fence and touched the ball. We're going to get another look.
Out over the plate and up. Garcia gives up on it right there and looks up. Now that had, even though he reached up, I think that had enough carry. It would have made the first row. That's one of the tough calls an umpire has to make when the fans are seated right next to the outfield wall.
And so near and yet so far. I think if he didn't touch it, he would have hit him right in the chest.
Yeah.
And
your old manager Earl Weaver got in many an argument at Comiskey Park. That was always a ballpark that was famous for that. Fans would reach over that wall.
Fordyce, a bouncing ball. Jeter to his left near the bag will throw on the first, and that's out number 2. In fact, I remember one afternoon where that happened, August 10th of 1975.
That the one you hit off me?
Well, we took a 1-0 lead, but somebody, I forgot who it was, hit one of those controversial home runs for the White Sox in the bottom of the 9th, and it won the game. And Earl, if he didn't have to get on the bus and leave town that day, he'd still be there arguing.
I think it was Bill Melton.
Well, it might have been. One of those White Sox sluggers. Here's Brian Roberts. Curve is in for. I thought that was a strike. It's a little high for ball one.
Well, how do you figure? Here's Deivi Cruz, who there's Earl. He's in rare form.
He's throwing the umpire out here. Yeah. Yep, there he goes. That's in there for a strike to Roberts. 1-1. 91 times thrown out of a major league game. You know, I thought it was a record, but it's not. Actually, John McGraw was thrown out of more. The old manager of the New York Giants. 2 balls and a strike. So a somewhat controversial home run has added 2 more runs for Baltimore here in the 4th inning. Hit hard and into left field for a base hit. Roberts has his 2nd hit of the game. It's 2 for 3. Andy Pettitte can't seem to get his fastball where he wants to.
In fact, I was just wondering, is this a fastball or just a high change? Because it doesn't appear to have a lot on it. And it's the same pitch that Cruz hit. Again, Posada sets up outside. Everything is in. Some nights you throw it in the pitching lanes. There's the outside 4 inches of the plate on either side. Tonight, everything seems to be in the hitting lane, right down the middle.
Curveball to Matos is in there for a strike. Yankees trail now 4-1. The Orioles have been hitting. That has not been their problem. The problem has been their pitching this year. Sort of like the exact opposite of last year. The ball hits the bat as Matos trying to get out of the way. The count goes 0-2.
Well, that's where numbers can be deceptive. We mentioned Andy in his career 14-4. But when you look at Cruz and Matos and some of the right-hand hitters in the Oriole lineup, they're hitting like 400. Cruz is almost a 500 hitter against Andy. Those are mostly during his days with the Tigers.
Roberts is going. Got a great jump. The ball is in the dirt. It's a stolen base. That's exactly what we were talking about. Getting a short lead and then going on first movement. It's almost as if he's showing Pettitte, I'm not going, and all of a sudden he goes. Short lead, and there he goes.
Yeah, and that's about the only way you can steal against a lefty with a great pickoff move is gamble like Roberts did. Kenny mentioned the short lead. Couldn't even make a play on him.
2nd stolen base for Roberts. He now has 9 since being recalled from the minors. 1-2 to Matos. High fly ball to left field. Garcia coming in, calling everybody off. He's there by himself, makes the catch. And Baltimore's finally retired here in the bottom of the 4th inning, but they pick up a couple of runs on 3 hits. They leave a runner. Deivi Cruz with a 2-run homer. And Baltimore now with a 3-run lead. It's a 4-1 score here at Camden Yards.
This season, my teammates and I are going to work as hard as we can with hopes that our fans will log on to Yankees.com and vote for one of us as the Continental Airlines Work Hard, Fly Right Player of the Year. We're dedicated to putting in those extra hours on the field, in the clubhouse, and everywhere else. So log on to Yankees.com and be eligible to win a trip to a Yankees away game. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. It's my turn to mow the outfield.
I'm Fred Hickman, the studio update brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. The Yankees starting the day 5.5 ahead of Toronto. Toronto in Detroit, and that is Corey Lytle, the 10-game winner, being lit up by A.J. Hinch. 2-run drive, his first of the year. The Tigers have lost 9 straight, lead it 2-1. Now back to Baltimore.
All right, thanks, Fred. That's where we are in Baltimore. And the Orioles have a 4-1 lead. The first half of this game, you would not think that the Yankees are the first-place team. The Orioles have outpitched him, outplayed him as Ponce's delivery to Mondesi outside for a ball. Sidney had a nice, effective 10-pitch 4th inning after some long innings early in the game. Foul out of play, 1-1, and big and strong as he is. He has all 3 of Baltimore's complete games. His last start was a complete game effort against those red-hot Blue Jays that Fred was talking about. He's just 26 years old. cutter or a slider. 1-2.
They're talking about becoming a free agent and a young pitcher. I talked to Mike Messina, former teammate of Ponsone's, of course, here at Baltimore, about Sidney and his approach to pitching.
Inside the line, that'll be down in the left field corner for extra bases. Mondesi makes the turn, thinks about going to third, and the Yankees down 3. He'll stay at second with a leadoff double.
Well, Mondesi trying to shake the throes of a slump. This base hit, he had been 1 for 15 prior to this. No chance for Batista. Next stop is going to be the left field corner. Ripped for the 2-base hit, and Mondesi on with a leadoff double here in the 5th inning as the Yankees try and fight their way back in, hustling right out of the box. You like to see that. Woo! Putting on a show. Throw out that parachute.
Karim Garcia, number 9 hitter, will step in. Strikeout victim in his first at bat. Good swing, foul straight back. Talking with Karim before the game, Kenny, and when he came up, he was, you know, with the they were talking about him being quite a star with the Dodgers, and I said, what happened the second half of last year with Cleveland, where he started to hit a lot of home runs? And he said very simply, I got a chance to play every day. Coming to the ballpark, even if I was 0 for 4, I knew I was going to play the next day. I was a much more relaxed hitter. Deep to right, and the Yankees are within 1. Wow. His first home run as a Yankee, in Garcia makes it a 4-3 ball game. That's the way he was hitting the second half of last season with the Indians.
Kenny, one thing I noticed prior to that pitch, did you see how long Ponson stared at Mondesi at second base?
Yep.
And he didn't pick up the target. He just turned and threw the ball towards home plate. Mondesi wasn't really jumping around, but Ponson looked, fired, middle of the plate, and gone. And Garcia knew it. If you hit a ball that well here, it's going. 373 in the gap in right center.
Soriano swings through the first pitch. Alfonso 1 for 2 and scored the first run of the ball game. One more look.
The home run ball used to be a big problem for Ponson, but this year, this is only the 7th he's given up in the season.
Low 1-1. Hear the chants in the background of "Let's go Yankees." There are so many Yankee fans that come down here to Baltimore. That's fouled out of play. 1-2. And Kenny, you were talking about Ponson's approach to pitching and Mike Messina's thoughts on it.
Yeah, Messina and he were teammates, and Mike had told me that they sat in the clubhouse here at Camden Yards, just the two of them, for the last 5 innings of a game, and had a nice discussion about pitching. We know how much Mike knows about it.
Sharply to short, Cruz on 1 hop. Toss out Soriano. That's the first out in the 5th inning.
Yeah, this was a few seasons ago, and Mike actually explained to Ponson it's not about throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. It's more about location and movement, taking some off, adding some. And he said for the rest of that season, in his last 6 starts, Ponson went 5-1. But the next year, Messina was gone.
Yeah.
And went to the Yankees as a free agent. Ponson forgot all about the discussion. Came right out throwing 97, 98, giving up a lot of home runs. And still hasn't been over a 500 pitcher until this year.
Here's Jeter. Sharply to second on 1 hop for Roberts. 2 quick outs after the 2-run homer. Well, that's why young pitchers like Jeff Weaver and Brandon Clausen have such an advantage being on the Yankee staff. You can sit next to Messina, to Clemens, to Wells. You know, even Andy Pettitte at 30 years old has been around a long time. And that radar gun-itis, talking with there's Weaver and Clausen. I was We're talking with Chris Hammond before the game today. Chris, the left-hand setup man, not a hard thrower at all, and he said when he was in the minor leagues trying to make a comeback with the Indians, they wouldn't give him a look because all the scouts said he doesn't throw hard enough. We're in the top of the 5th, 2 outs. Yankees have just climbed within 1 on Karim Garcia's 2-run homer. Jim Kaat along with Ken Singleton, the first of 3 with the Orioles in the first meeting of the year between these 2 ball clubs. Each team scored a run in the first. Orioles scored a pair in the 4th on Cruz's 2-run homer, and Garcia's 2-run shot just answered that, and that's where we are, 4-3. Ball and a strike to Giambi. Just outside. And again, where Fordyce is sitting, Larry Pansino's not falling for the. Like Chris Hammond said, when I got to Atlanta, they said, we don't care how hard you throw. Can you get people out? And that's why he's in the big leagues with that 82-mile-an-hour fastball and excellent changeup. Catches the inside corner, 2-2. Hit well, but right at center fielder Luis Matos. He'll have to back up though and play it on a hop. Boy, that had some top spin on it. Giambi's first hit of the game. The Yankees' 5th.
This looked like a Andre Agassi serve. I mean, the way it went out there with top spin and just almost straight down like a knuckle curveball. You know, a double home run, 2 solidly hit groundouts, and now this line drive. Yankees might be catching on to Ponson here in the 5th inning.
Here's Sierra. Outside for a ball. Well, he labored in the first 3. A lot of full counts. He had a very effective 4th inning, but overall, both he and Pettitte have extended themselves beyond the norm here in the first half of the ball game. Up the middle, almost got a piece of Ponson. Sierra with a 2-out single, and that is Sidney's 83rd pitch of the game here in the 5th inning. That's a high total.
He had another hard hit ball here in the 5th inning. Sierra gets a pitch that had enough sink on it, but not quite enough. Ponson down to 1 knee, and all he can watch this one go by like a midnight train. Into center field for the base hit.
Mark Wiley, Oriole pitching coach. We get another look at Sierra's line drive single. Will make a trip to the mound. What happens, when I mentioned the pitch count, I think what happens is with all the scouting reports, as a pitcher, you sit and you watch video and you go over reports and you pitch the very first hitter in the game like it's the last out in the 9th, as opposed to years ago. The first few innings, I mentioned the other night, the most simplest advice ever was when Branch Rickey said throw strikes for 5 innings and low strikes for 4 more. That's a little too simple, but the early part of the ball game, you used to just trust your stuff. You know, throw 2-3 pitches a hitter and take your chances, so that in the latter part of the ball game you had something left. That's what young Brandon Clausen did on Saturday night. Now here's Matsui, the Yankees' hottest hitter, with 2 out and 2 on. For ball. He says that he doesn't do it consciously, but from that shot right there, Kenny, that center field shot, early in the year, it seemed like there was about a foot between his hands and his helmet. Now you see the bat is back behind the helmet. That's grounded out to second. Roberts will flip the Cruz in time. The Yankees come up with 4 hits, including a 2-run homer by Karim Garcia. Halfway through, Orioles still leading by 1.
The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. On Monday, July 21st, the first 18,000 fans, 14 and under, will receive a Charlie Brown Yankees Pez dispenser courtesy of Verizon Wireless. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness.
Catch up on the day's sports talk with the best of Mike and the Mad Dog. It's a 1-hour version of the area's #1 rated sports talk show featuring the hottest topics, maddest moments, and most in-depth interviews. The best of Mike and the Mad Dog after the postgame only on Yes.
Back at Baltimore, it's turned out to be a pleasant evening weather-wise. Orioles lead it by a run. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Melvin Mora takes Pettitte's first pitch outside for a ball. Two productive outs for Mora. Sacrifice fly. Grounded to Robin Ventura to knock in another run in the 3rd. And Pettitte just having trouble. I see him pawing the mound with his plant foot there, like he's not comfortable with his stride. And he is not able to get that all-important strike 1 in consistently. Corner, 2-1.
Hey, you might explain how important that is for a pitcher to feel comfortable. It's like when a person works in an office, they go in the office, they set everything just right on the desk before they go to work. I mean, the pitcher's man is like being in his office. Everything has to be exactly right before he goes to work.
And I think now Ponson is a righty, so his stride wouldn't be in the same place. They're both about the same size. That pitch missing is 3-1, but it's very important for a pitcher to find that comfortable spot to plant, in Pettitte's case, that right foot. On the corner, 3-2.
Melvin thought he had ball 4.
See, it's right about down in there. That's where Andy's planting that right foot. And as the game goes on, you dig a deeper and deeper hole. Foul to the plate. That's why early in the year we were talking about pitchers having trouble in the early innings. So you can see pushing off that back foot, and ideally you'd boy, that's a great close-up shot, guys. You'd like to land the ball of the foot first. That's close. That's at least flat-footed. Anything but heel first, even though the toe is pointed a bit toward the first baseline. In the air on the right side, playable. Giambi in foul ground. And now drifts into fair territory. Puts it away, 1 up. You know, for like in batting practice, you take batting practice in those batters boxes time after time after time, whatever ballpark you're in. But pitchers seldom take the time. Here's the first game of the year in Baltimore to really go out to that mound. And every mound, even though their specifications, has a little different slope, a little different feel. And pitchers spend a lot of time working off the bullpen mound, but not much time on the game mound. I used to get into trouble with visiting ground crews because I would come in and early in the afternoon I'd come out and I'd get a catch. I'd say, let's go to the mound and throw. And, you know, they want to keep it all nice for the game. I said, well, you know, that's a pitcher's office. I want to find out what that feels like. Roll for a ball. Like Fenway Park always looked a little cockeyed. It just always looked like the rubber was pointing toward first. And there are some areas where there's a lot of foul territory where it looks like it's 90 feet away.
Did you pitch well at Fenway?
I pitched all right there because we had good teams.
Well, you know, all right. You know, what I was getting at, you know, you already had your excuse line.
Yeah, right.
It's not me. It's the mound.
Conine lifts this into short right field over the head of Soriano for a 1-out single. Well, fans, you know it's a long-time Yankee tradition, and that's on Thursday, July 17th. It'll be cap night. First 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Verizon. Tickets for cap night, you can visit the stadium ticket window, the clubhouse shops, call Ticketmaster, or log on to Yankees.com. There's a good look at that cap. Courtesy of Verizon. Plenty of Yankee caps here at Camden Yards.
2-hour ride on the train. Exactly 2 hours and 10 minutes on the Excel Express.
Gibbons Jay Gibbons so far tonight is getting, as they say in the dugout, schooled by Andy Pettitte. He has not seen him before. He doesn't play a lot against lefties. And so far, Pettitte has had him in a state of confusion. Outside, 1-1.
I had talked to Rick Dempsey, my former teammate, about Gibbons, because Gibbons is having a pretty good year. There's the Demper, MVP of the World Series in 1983. And he said that Gibbons will be even a better hitter when he learns to hit in situations. You know, how to look for pitches a little bit better. You know, a situation where with a base open, you might look for a breaking ball as opposed to, you know, when you get ahead on the count, getting a fastball and things like that. So he thinks that Gibbons, a lot of upside. Now, remember, Baltimore got Gibbons in the Rule 5 draft a few years ago from Toronto after he had a good year in Double-A, and he's developed into a pretty good RBI man this year.
Yeah, the other situation like right here you'd be talking about is with the hole open between first and second. Chances are Pettitte and Posada are saying we don't want to give him anything to pull. So the quicker a hitter learns that he's going to see pitches on the outside, maybe he tries to take it the other way.
Gibbons does have a lot of power.
Late on that, 1-2.
He swung at that like he was looking for a breaking ball.
Well, in fairness to Gibbons, he has not seen Pettitte, and early in his career he was a platoon player, so he's getting a chance to face a lot of these tough lefties for the first time. On the run is Conine, and he pulls that one in the hole between first and second. Mondesi's strong throw hits the umpire, which saves the Yankees a run, but Gibbons advances to second. So a good at bat by the young right fielder. And Mondesi's strong throw would have had Conine at third. They just short hop Ventura and hit James Hoy, the third base umpire.
Conine's on the move, and there's that breaking ball, and it pulls it right by Soriano into the hole. Conine trying for third. The throw is on its way by now, and it would have been a close play. The ball hits the umpire, Andy Pettitte, and Ventura scrambled for it. Let's see how close this play would have been. That Troublehorn, the third base coach, telling Conine to slide. The ball hits the umpire, but doesn't get far enough away for Conine to advance. But Gibbons goes to second, and I believe he will go there. They could give an error to Mondesi in right field, and that's what it's going to be.
You know that feeling. They always give a fielder make a good throw, but when it hits the runner or the umpire, they give the error to the guy that threw it, even though that was a very strong throw. So a single and an E9, and now they'll walk Batista and go at Surhoff with the bases loaded. So again, Andy Pettitte leaving a lot of pitches in the hitter's lane. Got a hit of Gibbons. Left that over the middle of the plate, and that'll send Mel Stottlemyre to the phone.
At this point in the lineup, Mike Hargrove, the Baltimore manager, has righty-lefty, righty-lefty. So in a way, that kind of sets it up for Joe Torre to pass these right-handed hitters to get to a lefty. He did it with Conine for Gibbons in the third inning, and now he does it for Batista to get to Surhoff here in the fifth.
Sterling Hitchcock, who had a rough outing Saturday night at Shea Stadium, gets the call. You talk about a left-hand hitter that is a situational hitter. You're looking at one right here in B.J. Surhoff. Conine at third, got a single. Gibbons single and reached second on the throwing error. Batista walked intentionally. O's have him loaded with one out. Right to Pettitte, bobbles it, comes home, got him. Wow. A quick reaction in the most unusual play. A desperate backhand flip by Andy Pettitte. That's one of those where the ball comes at you so quickly and he didn't really know what he was going to do with it. He could have gone straight home, which is what he should have done.
Yeah, instead he looks towards second and bobbles the ball. But watch this. This ball could have ended up. It could have ended up anywhere.
Man, I'll tell you.
Yeah, his first play, as Kitty said, ground ball back to the pitcher. You're going to come home with the bases loaded. Wow, what a play.
Yeah, Jeter already in the background was pointing to Andy Pettitte, go home. And there's the desperation backhand flip. Wow. Like Derek Jeter in the championship series. So they get the lead runner at home for the second out of the inning. And now Deivi Cruz, who homered earlier, steps in with the bases loaded.
You got to remember, that's from about 60 feet away. He flipped that. That's 20 yards.
Grounded toward third. Ventura, fair ball. Got him by a stride. And Pettitte works his way out of the bases loaded one-out situation with his backhand flip to home and a nice play by Ventura to end it. 5 in the books here at Baltimore. And the Orioles lead it 4-3. Top of the 6th, 4-3 Orioles. This game has had some excitement. 15 hits, couple of errors, couple of home runs. And it's only halfway through. Posadas takes low for a ball. Up until last inning, the most famous backhand flip out in Yankee history was the Derek Jeter play against the Oakland Athletics. But I think Andy Pettitte went one up on him. Left field, Posada leads with a line drive single. First of all, Kenny, here's the Pettitte. How in the world did he make this play? Don't try this at home.
No. I mean, it shows you touch and feel by a pitcher for a baseball. Backhanded flip. He had to be at least 20 yards away, on target for the force at home. Saves a run, but this will remain the most famous backhand flip. Derek Jeter in a division series against the A's 2 years ago. The tag on Jeremy Giambi. I mean, under the circumstances, Kitty.
Right.
The Yankees won that game in the division series by one run.
Yeah, that put him in the World Series, that play. And there's the reaction from the Yankee bench on Derek's play in Oakland. But Andy's play right there kept this from being an Oriole close to a blowout. That ball could have gone anywhere. First strike to Ventura, 1-1. In fact, I think it shocked Posada so much that he went to tag the runner, and all he had to do was step on home plate. It was a force play. But all turned out fine for the Yankees. They escaped without giving up a run.
Ventura up there 4 for his last 29. As I mentioned before, he's hit well in this park in the past. And sometimes, you know, they change the venue. You come to a place where you feel comfortable. He's had 3 days off, courtesy of Joe Torre. Robin had a game-winning home run here last year in a 1-0 victory.
Into short left field with Posada on the run. Mora coming on. Can't get it. It gets past him. And Posada will stop at second. Nice effort by the Oriole left fielder, but it drops in front of him for a bloop single, and the Yankees have 2 on.
Well,
nobody out.
Yeah, the runner was on the move. Posada was actually running, but here's where the indecision came in. Wasn't sure Mora was going to catch it or not. He does not. Posada actually went down to second, started back to first, and then went on to second base. After Mora's effort, the ball actually hits the end of his glove and then rolls away. Good effort, but he comes up just a little bit short, and the Yankees have the tying and go-ahead runs on base.
Nobody out in the top of the 6th, and Mondesi, who is 1 for 2 and scored a run in his last at bat. Took a shot to right field, pops this foul behind home plate, strike 1.
Yeah, earlier I was talking about Mike Messina and Ponson. Messina gets to start here tomorrow night in front of his former fans, and There's the Moose.
That'll be against right-hander Rodrigo Lopez, who had such a good year last year, but only one victory so far this season. Out towards short. Cruz will take the sure out at first base as it becomes a productive out by Mondesi, advancing Posada to third and Ventura to second.
Now that had the same effect as a sacrifice bunt, although Mondesi will not get credit for it. A sacrifice, that is, but still, as Kitty said, you move the runners along. Gives the Yankees a chance to score here in the 6th.
And a high pitch count for Sidney Ponson here with 1 out in the 6th inning. First base open, but with Soriano on deck, Garcia will get something to hit. High for a ball.
I think also with the limited chance of doubling Soriano up, they're going to go after Garcia.
Which is a nice position to be in if you're Karim Garcia. Because you can pretty well figure Ponson's going to try to challenge him. Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, on the right. Good pitch, low and away, 1-1. Posada at third, single to left, as did Ventura. They both advanced on Mondesi's ground ball. Straight back. Ponson got a fastball in on his hands, and now he's in front of Garcia, 1-2. This is what he did in his last at bat, Karim Garcia.
Had the sound, had the distance, and the Yankees had 2 runs.
Just a little short of 400 feet out there toward Utah Street. That's smoke in the air there from Boog's Barbecue, I guess. Boog Powell, the former Oriole first baseman. Tap foul.
Well, Boog is out there just about on a nightly basis. There's a side of the Boog's Barbecue out beyond the right center field flag court, and it's Utah Street in between the flag court and the warehouse where the Orioles have their offices. That is the longest building on the East Coast.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that.
You know it now.
I do. Got it. So Ponson, after giving up the 2-run shot to Garcia, comes back. And a good job of pitching that time strikes him out. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Big strikeout of Garcia. Now 2 out and 2 on for Soriano. Out of play, strike 1. That's another growing process as a pitcher. You talked about Ponson listening to Messina and not being so caught up in how hard you throw, but it's situations like this where you learn to pitch out of jams. And with the pitch count up, he's not going to get a chance to work out of too many more. So this is almost like Sidney's 9th inning. Outside, 1-1.
The bullpen for Baltimore was their strong point last year. And Mike Hargrove didn't hesitate to go to it, but this year they have not been quite as sharp. A lot of runs out there this year.
And on the hands. Another good pitch. Ponson making some pitcher's pitches here with second and third and one out. He struck out Garcia going high and tight, low and away. Gets this one up and into Soriano. And the crowd halfway through this one, the Orioles up one, getting into it. Struck him out. Looked like he threw the high fastball past Soriano, and a good job by the young right-hander to preserve the one-run Oriole lead. We head to the bottom of the sixth. Baltimore leads it 4-3. Back at Camden Yards, there's a nice view from Utah Street out near Boog's Barbecue. And tonight, after the post-game, catch what you missed of the day's sports talk and analysis with the best of Mike and the Mad Dog on Yes. Hour-long recap, all the day's events, best insight and interviews from Mike and Chris. As Pettitte misses with the curveball to Fordyce. On New York's top-rated sports talk show, if they're talking sports, they're talking on the best of Mike and the Mad Dog. Tonight after the post-game right here on Yes. Fordyce takes low, 2-0. We're in the bottom of the sixth along with Ken Singleton. I'm Jim Kaat. The Yankees scored in the first. Soriano leading off the game with a single. Orioles answered it with a run. First strike, 2-1. Orioles picked up a run in the third. Melvin Moore's ground out, and Deivi Cruz hit a home run. His 10th of the year makes it 4-1 Orioles. Top of the fifth, Karim Garcia homered for the Yankees, and that's where we stand at 4-3. And the 100th pitch from Andy Pettitte misses the strike zone, and that's the reason in the sixth inning the count is at 100. He has not been able to get ahead of hitters consistently tonight. Giambi right under his glove, and Fordyce will have his second hit of the night, a leadoff single here in the sixth.
Andy Pettitte has not had a clean inning tonight. By that I mean he has not had a 1-2-3 inning. He's had to labor through this game, and there's a sharp ground ball. Looked like Giambi momentarily broke the other way and then tried to dive back the other way and come up with the ball, but it was too late. This might be a bunt situation with Brian Roberts coming to the plate.
Just to check, the Yankees go to first base. Talking about clean innings, Andy Pettitte, with nobody out here in the sixth, has faced 20 hitters in the last 3 innings. Escaped with one base runner in the first and second, but since then he has had to work out of some jams with men on base, including a bases loaded situation last inning. See Robin Ventura in on the grass. He's anticipating a bunt from Roberts, and the Yankees with Al Reyes and Sterling Hitchcock heating up in the bullpen. And I think that's the reason for those 3 pickoff moves. You hear the crowd in the background, but oftentimes to give the relievers a little more time to warm up. And I think Matos in the on-deck circle, being a right-hand hitter. Joe wants Reyes to get enough time to warm up and come in and face him if necessary. Shows bunt. Not good technique there, and it's fouled back, strike one.
Yeah, Lou Piniella in the last start by Andy Pettitte at Tropicana Field argued about this same thing. The Yankees were trying to get the bullpen warmed up. Andy worked 7 1/3, threw over the first base 3 consecutive times. Joe Torre then went out and made the pitching call, and Lou was out there arguing with the first base umpire.
2-1. 1-1 rather.
The Orioles have an interesting decision to make when Jerry Hairston comes back. Hairston had been the second baseman. Kitty mentioned he's on the disabled list with a broken foot. And Roberts been called up, done a good job at second base. Hairston had been leading the league in stolen bases when he got hurt.
Another bunt, and Giambi will catch that. Boy, for a little infielder who played college ball with his dad as a coach, that is not good technique. Bunting right there, and Brian Roberts pops it up to Giambi for a big out.
Yeah, his dad was a coach at North Carolina, and Roberts was a shortstop there. Yeah, he kind of pushes at it and pops it straight up for Giambi to come up with.
And when you see the good bunters like we used to see Louis Soho, that bat is extended way out in front of you, and then they soften the bat with the ball. They give almost like they're catching it in the net. And Roberts jabbed at that one. Here's Matos. Curve in for a strike.
Here's Roberts trying to get the ball down in the ensuing pop-up. Yeah, he kind of pushes at it. You know, he did do something in college that's tough to do. Roberts played for both North Carolina and South Carolina. That's tough to do.
Yeah. Fouled straight back 0-2. That's like playing football for Notre Dame and Michigan.
Yeah. What he did was his father left North Carolina, and he didn't want to play there anymore, and he moved on to South Carolina.
We're talking about the declining attendance here. There's still a respectable 38,618 in the ballpark tonight. It's away from Giambi and Fordyce. So the Orioles don't bunt him over, but Pettitte gives it back to him with a throw. Now I wonder if that was called from the bench, because Fordyce not the kind of guy who's going to steal second base. He's got about a 4-foot lead.
It's going to be an error on Andy Pettitte on the throw. And Kitty, this game kind of reminds me of last Monday night at Tampa Bay, where the Yankees lost that game after playing a Sunday night game on national TV. They had to travel all the way to Florida, which is certainly further than Baltimore, but they seem to be a little bit flat in that same sort of way that they were last Monday night.
Of course, the atmosphere with the Subway Series, 6 of the last 9 games, got the players emotionally charged, and it's been a rather quiet atmosphere here tonight.
And that last Monday night was the last time the Yankees lost a game.
And that is, as Kenny mentioned, that's not an excuse. That's one of the things the players have to overcome. That's why over 162 games, you have to play games with yourself to get yourselves mentally ready to play every day. I'll never forget, in '66, the Red Sox were just pathetic with Yastrzemski and Petrocelli. They had a lot of talent. The next year, Dick Williams took over, and Carl Yastrzemski said, we were ready to play every day when we came to the ballpark. In on the handle, popped up. Soriano will be there and make the catch. 2-away.
Yeah, we just showed you video a couple innings back of Hall of Fame manager Earl Weaver, who was here for many years, and how fiery he was. And one thing that I appreciate about Earl more now than I did then, he could get you to focus on a daily basis. Forget what happened yesterday. Forget about tomorrow's game. It's today's game is the one we can do something about, and that's why his number is retired, and it's right there in the Oriole dugout, where he would have been standing and yelling at umpires.
Here's Morrow with 2 out and Fordyce at second. In for a strike. Well, if Andy Pettitte gets Melvin Mora out, it'll be similar to the David Wells game against the Mets. He's been able to allow 10 hits and kind of tap dance his way through 6 innings, and with the Yankees only down 1, has still given them a chance to win the ball game. 0-2.
This is one of those backswings that catchers kind of fear. Look at a long backswing, and you see Posada ducked ahead, even though he's got the helmet on, to keep from the barrel of the bat and making contact with catchers. All learn those low inside pitches where those hitters try and golf them. They come all the way around like you're supposed to in a golf swing. Follow through, and Posada ducks the head.
Nice block by Posada. Yeah, two swings that come to mind are Fred McGriff and David Justice from the left side of the plate with that long kind of helicopter follow through, which one of the reasons catchers wearing that batting helmet comes in handy. Pulled foul.
This could be a momentum swing for the Yankees if Pettitte's able to get out of this with Mora, a tough hitter at the plate, a runner in scoring position, not allow a run to score. You know, with the bullpen heating up, he's getting towards the end of his tenure in this game, but to hold the Baltimore team off the scoreboard here in the 6th would really help the Yankees out.
Upstairs, and I think Andy knows with Conine on deck, this is probably his last man either way. Orioles have 10 hits. They have left 7 men on base through the first 5 innings. They have a runner in scoring position right now. Swing there, fouled straight back, still 2-2.
Yeah, that was Mora's best swing of the at-bat.
Well, that swing right there would lead you to believe, and Posada, catchers have a habit of doing this. They're looking at that hitter and trying to think what the hitter's thinking of. He has not looked good on breaking balls.
Got to get it down and got to get it in.
One of those told Andy Pettitte what to throw. Tap toward third. And a curve, and we'll do it again. The starting pitchers always establish the rhythm and tempo of a game, and both Ponson and Pettitte have been a bit sluggish tonight. And actually, before the game tonight, it was rather steamy and humid, but it has turned into a pleasant night here in Baltimore. Tough at bat by Melvin Mora. And he fouls off another 2-strike pitch, and now Posada is going to trot out and say, we've tried about everything. What would you like to do?
Well, Mora's had a good year. We mentioned don't lead the league without in batting without having a good season. Had 39 hits in May. Had a career high 23 game hitting streak. And has been the focal point of the offense.
Pensive, Joe Torre. Full count. Conine would be next. Another foul ball on a tough breaking pitch. This one you want to invent something. Talked about Mike Messina and his influence on Ponson. That's what, you know, Messina will, if a hitter puts a tough at bat on him, he'll drop down, give you a little three-quarter look, a little different look. This is the 10th pitch of this at bat. And he walked it. After getting ahead, Andy Pettitte loses Melvin Mora. And Joe Torre now will make a decision. He's talking about it with Mel. Veteran Jeff Conine.
You can tell those hitters are having good years. They put good at-bats on pitchers and either end up getting a hit or a walk. And Melvin Mora gets the base on balls and puts 2 on with 2 out.
Mel to the mound, and what this discussion could be about, a 1-run game. This, in all probability, is going to be Andy's last inning. So you imagine that there's second and third instead of first and second, and first base is open. Jay Gibbons, a left-hand hitter, on deck. Because I think if that were not the case, Pettitte would be out of the game right now. But I think the reason Joe sent Mel to the mound, he said, okay, you got a right-hand hitter in Conine. Reyes and Hitchcock are both ready. Pitch to him like first base is open. And go at Gibbons. If he wants to chase something bad, let him do it. Moore at first, Fordyce at second, 2 out, bottom of the 6th. Orioles up by a run. Inside corner, strike 1. Perfect pitch.
Conine's become a better hitter over the years because he's gotten better at hitting the ball to the opposite field.
Popped up right field, playable. Mondesi on the run, has room, and he'll put it away, and Pettitte works out of another jam. Bases loaded in the 5th. The Orioles don't score. 2 on here in the 6th. They have stranded 9. We played 6, and the Orioles still lead it 4-3. Saturday night at 7 on Yes. Relive the historic night when Roger Clemens reached 300 wins on the debut of a new Yankee classic. 0 for a ball to Jeter from the early inning milestone of 4,000 strikeouts to the power pitching dominance of the middle innings to the emotional celebration of his 300th victory. Here's your chance to catch the Rockets' legendary performance once again. Yankee Classics. Roger Clemens' 300th win Saturday night at 7, only on Yes.
Ponson misses again to Derek Jeter. Derek leading it off for the Yankees. Down by a run here at the top of the 7th. Jeter so far tonight has struck out single, grounded to second. He's 1 for 3. Sidney Ponson behind on the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Jeter bouncing ball off through the left side and into left field for a base hit. So the tying run is on, and Derek Jeter has his 2nd hit of the ball game. The leadoff single here in the 7th inning. The Yankees' 9th hit off Sidney Ponson.
Tried to come inside. Derek turned on it. Yeah, each pitcher has had to work out of a jam in the last 2 innings. This is the 3rd consecutive inning now that the Yankees have gotten at least the leadoff hitter to first base. And that means that either Kerry Lightenberg or B.J. Ryan will be called in shortly.
Baltimore bullpen begins to warm up as Jason Giambi steps in. Giambi's 1 for 2. Single his last time up. Nice stop by Fordyce behind the plate on a slide in the dirt. It's ball 1. Giambi's also flied to right and drawn a walk. He's been on base twice. That average nearing the 270 mark, up to 268. That walk, by the way, for Giambi was his league-leading 67th. Speed at first in the person of Derek Jeter. That's upstairs, and it's 2 balls and no strikes on the dangerous Giambi.
Kenny, I had a minor league manager that taught me a lot about the game, the late Del Wilbur. And these situations like tonight, he'd say, I'll let you work out of 2 jams. But he said, history has told me that when the pitcher gets in that 3rd jam of the night, he doesn't get out of it. So you knew if you'd been in 2 and you got in another one, you were coming out of the ball game.
Well, you mentioned Giambi. He's hit 11 home runs this month. The last month in which a Yankee hit more than 11 home runs was July 1961, when Mantle and Maris both did it. Outside ball 3. Hitters count. Mickey Mantle hit 14 that month, July of '61, and Roger Maris hit 13 home runs that month, as they were both chasing Babe Ruth's mark of 61 home runs in a season, or 60 home runs in a season. This ball is hit hard toward the corner in right field, and it's off the scoreboard. Jeter is on his way to third. Giambi hit the ball so hard that he held himself to a single. And it's first and third with nobody out here at the top of the 7th inning. A scorching line drive off the bat of Jason Giambi, and the Yankees are in business here in the 7th.
Well, scorching is right. I mean, this ball came back at Jay Gibbons so hard off the wall, he had trouble handling it.
And this line drive will actually bring Mike Hargrove, the Baltimore manager, to the mound to talk to Sidney Ponson. A left-hander and a right-hander in the bullpen, and Mike Hargrove wants the lefty, B.J. Ryan. So Jason Giambi has knocked Sidney Ponson out of the game. Ponson works 6+ innings and leaves with the lead. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Yankees knocking on the door here at the top of the 7th.
You've got the games. Now go online and get the scoop. Go! YesNetwork.com is your source for New York sports, giving you insider access to the Yankees and the Nets.
Longevity, is paying off.
Log on to YesNetwork.com for original features from Yes Network talent and in-depth on-site coverage from every Yankees home game. Then get interactive with daily polls, message boards, and exclusive multimedia clips.
As a player, you love the excitement of New York.
Plus, shop online at the Yes Gear store. YesNetwork.com, your source for New York sports. Hey, Yes Network fans, now sport a new look with Yes Gear from the home of champions. Shop online now at YesNetwork.com and gear up with t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, bags, ladies apparel, and more. So log on now to YesNetwork.com and get your Yes Gear here.
That was Sidney Ponson now out of the ball game. The Singular call to the bullpen is brought to you by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. Ponson not happy with what has just transpired here in the top of the 7th inning. Now, remember that comportment we were talking about when he was knighted? Yep.
Can they take that away from you?
Yeah, I think, this game is on TV back to Aruba, so as B.J. Ryan will come in out of the bullpen. Ryan has done well against lefties, but not well against right-handed hitters. He's facing the switch hitting Ruben Sierra. The first pitch is high and away for ball 1. Right-handed batters have hit .356 against B.J. Ryan. But on the other hand, lefties are hitting .190 against him. First and third, nobody out. Yankees down by a run here at the top of the 7th inning. Pitch to Sierra is low and inside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes.
And what managers do a lot, maybe they did this to you in your career, with a switch hitter, they'll bring a pitcher in to flip him around to the other side. That first at bat seems to be the most difficult for a switch hitter.
Sierra fouls it off, and it's 2 balls and a strike. There is some truth to that. You've been up there left-handed the whole game, and all of a sudden you get a jump over to the other side of the plate. Now, one guy that it didn't bother was Eddie Murray, who's going into the Hall of Fame this year. 11 times in his career, he homered from both sides of the plate in one game. This ball is hit high and deep to left field. It's not going to bother Ruben Sierra. A 3-run homer, and the Yankees take the lead 6-4, and Ponson is even more upset because now he can lose this game, and he can't win it. Ruben Sierra touches off a 3-run shot against B.J. Ryan. We mentioned how right-handed hitters have lit him up, and the Yankees now lead 6-4. So switching to the other side of the plate has meant the Yankees pick up 3 more runs off the bat of Sierra.
Well, if you get the ball down and into Sierra, anything on the inside is where Ruben does his damage, and that appeared to be where that pitch was.
Pitch to Matsui is a strike, and Kitty, that is why you become a switch hitter.
Right. His 3rd home run as a Yankee. In fact, as a Yankee, his average is almost 400.
Matsui takes outside, and it's a ball and a strike.
You mentioned Mike Hargrove a little hesitant to go to his bullpen this year, and that home run indication. The numbers are staggering, the difference between last year's bullpen and this year's.
Outside to Matsui, the bullpen has given up on average about 1 more run per outing. And that can spell the difference late in ball games. There's a strike, and it's 2-2 to Matsui. So Jeter with a single, Giambi followed with 1. Runners at first and third. Ponson out of the game, B.J. Ryan in, and Mike Hargrove made the wrong move. Ruben Sierra with a 3-run homer. Matsui fouls this one off the glove of Brooke Fordyce, and the count stays at 2-2. All smiles in the Yankee dugout as they now have a 2-run lead courtesy of that man, Ruben Sierra. That's his 2nd hit of the night. He is now 8 for his last 19. Swing and a miss by Matsui, and he's gone. 1 down here in the 7th. And that's what we're talking about. Time to look at the Yankees Visa in-game box. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Soriano 1 for 4. Jeter's had a good night with a couple of hits. Giambi with 2. Sierra with 2. Matsui 0 for 4. Like we say, there's always one guy who doesn't get to go to the party. And so far, it's Hideki Matsui. Posada hits one well to center field. This is going to chase Matos back. He's there and makes the catch. And that's the 2nd out.
Let's see where this pitch was to Ruben Sierra. Now, I don't know if it was there by design. Yeah, it sure was. Now, I don't know where the other teams get their scouting reports, but we've been watching Ruben Sierra for a long time. And with that stance, anything the middle of the plate in, I think he burned the Mets, or maybe Tampa Bay on that same. But if you set up inside to Ruben Sierra, you have not looked at the scouting report. Because anything middle out, he has trouble touching. Anything right there is where he does his damage.
Ventura takes a pitch downstairs. It's 1-1. And you're throwing it just about where he's leaving. He's turning to get the bat hit to that spot. 3 runs for the Yankees here in the top of the 7th as Ventura swings and misses. Strike 2.
That's where the term pitching inside. Actually, it's throwing inside. You pitch outside and then you throw inside to back a hitter off the plate, and then you go back outside.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and the Yankees are retired, but not before Ruben Sierra puts them in front here in the top of the 7th. As we go to the 7th inning stretch here at Camden Yards, the Yankees have taken a 2-run lead. It's 6-4. Yankees on top of Baltimore.
Yankees action is so hot, it's worth watching twice. And you'll see it all on Yankees Encore. When the game is over, relive the great plays of 2003 Yankees baseball. Yankees Encore. Tonight after the best of Mike and the Mad Dog, only on Yes.
I'm Fred Hickman, the studio update brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. In the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins trying to hang on to a tenuous lead over Kansas City, taking on the White Sox. Look at this catch. Jose Valentin rips one into center, but Torrey Hunter, a tremendous grab at the 375 mark, grabs it, bangs into the upright, but manages to hang on. But with the lead 6-0 White Sox, a man on Valentin goes deep to right center field and gets it to go. 8-0 in favor of the White Sox. Back to Baltimore.
Thank you, Fred. As the White Sox trying to make noise in the American League Central, first of all, you got to get to 500. If they win tonight, they will be 2 games under 500, but 3.5 games out of first place in the American League Central. Chris Hammond comes in relief of Andy Pettitte here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Yankees now with a 2-run lead. 37th appearance of the year for Hammond. His record 2-0. His ERA just over 3. He's picked up a save along the way. One more hit than innings pitched. Only 6 walks, 28 strikeouts. And he of the excellent changeup will face Gibbons, Batista, and Surhoff for Baltimore here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, and his changeup, we mentioned before the game, his changeup appears to be getting better and better. He said he had a good, like a 5-minute bullpen session with Mel Stottlemyre about a month ago, and he said, I was just, hitters can relate to this. He said, I was way out front. My motion was going forward instead of backwards first and then forward, not staying over the rubber.
Here's Jay Gibbons, who has Singleton 3 at-bats, and the first pitch is low and outside, ball 1. Here's Mel Stottlemyre, who's been worth his weight in gold. Little looper in the right field. It's going to drop in for a base hit for Gibbons, who picks up his 2nd hit of the night.
Here's what Chris Hammond has been working on. Instead of everything going forward, he stays back a little bit longer. This ball wasn't really scorched. It was just hit off the end of the bat by Jay Gibbons. And Hammond, as usual, is more effective against righties than lefties. This will be a real challenge for Tony Batista to try to keep both feet on the ground.
Batista is a lot like Ruben Sierra. He's looking to pull the ball in there for a call strike. Batista tonight has been walked intentionally. He's had a single and scored and flied out to left field. So 1 for 2 for the Baltimore third baseman. Batista does not hit the ball to the opposite field, at least with authority, very often. Tried to check his swing off the bat and foul. Now this is a double play situation for the Yankee infield as we look at this foul ball first. Check swing. That would have been a strike. But Jeter is pulled way over in the hole. Yeah, usually when you have double play situations, you play a little closer to the bag as a shortstop and a second baseman. You can see Soriano's playing as you would, but Jeter's given a lot of room between the bag and himself at shortstop. 1 and 2 on Batista. And that's because Hammond has a good changeup and Batista tries to pull the ball. Over the inside corner for called strike 3. Batista can't believe it.
Tony's taking a long look down at that inside corner and then looking at Larry Poncino like, are you kidding me? But after setting him up with the changeup, Hammond comes inside with the fastball right on the corner or thereabouts.
A seam might have got it.
Yep.
That's all it takes. Either way, Batista fooled and out of there. Here's Surhoff. First pitch is high for ball 1. Surhoff has Singleton 3 at-bats. Yankees with 3 runs in the top of the 7th have taken a 6-4 lead. 3-run homer by designated hitter Ruben Sierra off that man, B.J. Ryan, who came in relief of Sidney Ponson. Change-up is popped in the air down the right field line. This is twisting foul, coming over his Mondesi and makes the catch in foul territory. Gibbons will tag, heads for second, and just beats the throw. It was almost a great play out of the corner by Raul Mondesi as Surhoff is out on the fly ball in foul territory.
Boy, he has made 2 strong throws. I wonder if the Yankees will appeal here. He actually runs into the shadows and makes this throw. It just short-hopped Derek Jeter. With a normal throw, Derek would be able to get the glove down, make the tag. But Gibbons, with good aggressive base running,
is now in scoring position with Deivi Cruz to the plate. Change up in the dirt, knocked down by Posada. Ball 1 to Cruz. 2 outs, runner at second. Cruz 1 for 3, hit a 2-run homer in the 4th inning for Baltimore. His 10th of the year.
This is one of those at-bats, if you're Chris Hammond and you've done your homework on Deivi Cruz, you can throw it about 40 miles. You can throw it school zone speed because this guy doesn't walk. He's going to be hacking.
2 balls and no strikes. As we mentioned, Cruz has walked just 4 times this season in over 250 at-bats. That's the way he was with the Tigers. You can only take so many pitches in a row. He might be hacking at this one. No, take it all the way.
3 in
It's
a
in
row.
there.
Must have had a bug in his eye. Doesn't take 3 pitches in a row.
Cruz's on-base percentage is under 3. Been on base 27% of the time. That's primarily because he's walked only 4 times. Two-1 pitches popped up into short left field. Jeter going back. Garcia coming in, still coming in, and makes the sliding catch for the final out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. A long run for Karim Garcia results in the final out, and Baltimore fails to score. We're headed to the 8th. A long run for Garcia. Checks Jeter and says, hey, I got to get this. He does. It's 6-4 Yankees.
On Yes, tomorrow, the Yanks' Maryland mission continues as they take on the Orioles in Game 2 at Camden Yards. Join Fred Hickman for complete pregame coverage tomorrow starting at 6:30 only on Yes, the home of champions.
Well, Karim Garcia, stepping into the on-deck circle, made some kind of inning-ending saving catch on this. Kenny, I didn't know he was that good an outfielder.
Well, we know he can make the sliding catch, and he had to come a long way. You know, outfielders are playing deep. You know, they don't want the ball hit over their head. Derek Jeter wasn't going to get there. It's up to Garcia.
Wow. That is some kind of play. Mondesi to lead it off. Big swing on the breaking pitch from Kerry Lightenberg. And despite that good catch that Garcia made, he might be replaced for defense in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees lead it here 6-4. Outside. Lightenberg is an interesting story. He went to the University of Minnesota. That's his season line. 31 games, respectable earned run average. He has a save, about a hit per inning. Did most of his work with the Atlanta Braves. Bowl for a ball. He was a replacement player during that player strike of 95 with the Mariners, and then actually went back to Minnesota. He's got a degree in chemical engineering. High in the air to left, playable. Mora. Plenty of room. One away. He was about to take a job with the 3M company when Greg Olson, you remember Greg Olson, not the right-hand pitcher, the catcher with the Braves. And Greg was managing the independent league team and invited Lightenberg to come out and have a tryout. And he said, it sounds kind of fun. I'll play a little pro ball. He went out there. The next thing, Olson calls his former team, the Braves, and says, hey, I got a guy here who can help you. So since 95, when he didn't plan on playing any pro ball, he has earned a little over $4 million in the big leagues. That's a pretty good tryout he had down in the independent league. Garcia fouls it back for strike.
Yeah, the 3M company pays well, but not that well.
No, not in 6 years. Yeah. I don't think you can go to the CEO in that short a period of time.
Yeah. Now, the kicker to the story is, I believe, that Olson wanted help with his team, and the Braves sent them like 3 dozen bats and 3 dozen baseballs for Lightenberg.
That was the trade.
That was the trade.
Looped into short left, and Garcia has his second hit of the night. It was Karim's 2-run homer back in the top of the 5th that got the Yankees in the ball game. As you might expect at Camden Yards, it is the home run ball. Garcia hit a 2-run shot. Deivi Cruz a 2-run shot. The big blow was Ruben Sierra's 3-run homer. That came last inning, gives the Yankees a 6-4 lead.
Here's where the Yankees would like to play tack-on baseball. Just tack on a run or two and just try to put another nail in the coffin.
Swung on and missed, and then Soriano in these situations, you know he has home run power, but in these situations where Alfonso has battled his way out of his slump, he's hit the ball the other way. Oh, 0-2. Third pitcher for the Orioles, B.J. Ryan, relieved Sidney Ponson, served up the 3-run homer to Sierra. In time, and tonight's game is an indication of the hard work behind the scenes by Brian Cashman and his staff to continue to upgrade the spare parts for the Yankees. The core team stays about the same. Jeter, Soriano, Bernie Williams will be back. Posada. Semi-line drive to left. Mora puts it away, and there are 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. But Danny Maselli has contributed to a couple wins. Sierra is almost a 400 hitter. Garcia has contributed. And if you want the latest news and Yankees merchandise, player updates, all your ticket needs, visit Yankees.com. That's the official site of the New York Yankees. Derek Jeter, 2 for 4 on the night. He was on base when Sierra hit his 3-run homer in the last inning. Pitch out, nothing doing. The 2, 3, 4 hitters in the Yankee lineup, Jeter, Giambi, and Sierra, are 6 for 10. In for a strike. Kenny, they might want to tell Hideki Matsui when he comes to the ballpark, you know, Baltimore's really in the National League. They're not an American League team because he's almost a 500 hitter in interleague play. And now tonight, Hideki is seeing some pitchers he has seen for the first time. He's 0 for 4.
You know, that's why I thought as the year went along, he would get better and better. And it's kind of come to pass that way because now starting to see teams for the second time now. He's going to see a lot of these Orioles in the second half.
Time that's why it'll be fun to track his production against Baltimore as they're going to play 6 series against each other. He had the highest batting, second highest ever in interleague play.
The Joker, Joe Randall.
Larry Poncino concerned about something in the stands behind home plate here. Don't know if it was a camera or a light of some kind.
Larry Poncino, been around a long time.
One and one to Derek Jeter with 2 out.
Years ago, we were doing a spring training game on television, and they got the 2 out. It would have been an official game, and I mean it poured in Florida. Exhibition game. Center field camera. You showed a shot for center field camera. You could not see home plate. It was raining that hard. But they were trying to get the game in. That's where Larry became Larry Pontoons Poncino.
Garcia thrown out by Fordyce to end the top of the 8th. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th here at Camden Yards. Yankees trying to win this first meeting of the year between these two teams. They lead at 6-4. Back at Camden Yards, bottom of the 8th, Chris Hammond to face Brooke Fordyce. Ripped down in the left field corner. That's going to be off the wall. And Fordyce will hustle into second. He's going to be out. Wow, what a throw by Garcia. It appeared that Fordyce had an easy double, and Garcia, not only a hitting hero, has become the fielding hero for the Yankees. A great catch, and now a great throw.
I think Joe Torre's finding out some things about Karim Garcia that he did not know. Now, he made a decent throw down at Tampa Bay, but it wasn't as good as this one. Man, on the fly from the wall, and the ball is waiting for Fordyce. All Soriano has to do is stick out the glove, and Fordyce tags himself out.
That is a walk or a trot you do not want to make back to your team's dugout. When you're down 2 in the 8th inning, here's Roberts, takes a strike. I mean, I thought like Brooke Fordyce, but you have to be able to make this standing up when you're down 2 in the 8th inning.
And he played that like a highlight player, didn't he? Off the wall, and man, zoomed it into second base. That was Brian O'Nora with the call.
In first strike, 0-2 to Roberts.
Maybe Fordyce thought it was out of the park, and he wasn't turning it on. Yeah. And that's the difference. 1 step or 2, and he's out at second. That Cadillac trot.
Popped up. Garcia again. This is a much easier play. Puts it away, 2 out. Yeah, in the dugout, they call that the Sports Center mentality. Yeah. Everybody likes to watch where the ball's going. And all it takes is a couple of slow steps, and you watch that ball, and you get thrown out at second. Let's check out the Orioles in-game box score brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. Roberts with a pair, Gibbons with a pair. Good night for Deivi Cruz, 1 for 4 and a home run. And like the Yankee box score, as Matos takes a strike, their hottest hitters are the 2 that have no hits tonight. Though Melvin Mora has had a productive night. He's driven in 2 with a sacrifice fly and a ground out. He's 0 for 2. Matsui's 0 for 4. In the center field, on comes Matsui, and he'll have to play that on a 2-out single for Matos. His second of the game. The Orioles have 12 hits to match the Yankees total. Giambi trying to get the dugout's attention to see if they want him to play behind. Yeah, I don't know, says Joe. Just a little bit off the bag. Do what you think. I guess that gives you an indication of the temperature down in the dugouts, because most of the time you'll see Joe and Mel and Don Zimmer seated on the bench, and they've been on the top step. Mel just went to the phone. Make sure Maselli is ready. And
you know, if they don't hold Matos on, he's going to steal second, right? He's got 8 steals on the year.
Inside. 2-0 to Mora. Conine would be next, and that looks like it would be Maselli's man.
Make that 9 steals. He was on the back end of his stolen base earlier. Looking at the matchups. Who does what against who?
In the air to short right, Mondesi's there. Easy play. Hammond works out of that 8th inning thanks to a base running mistake by Brooke Fordyce and a strong throw by Karim Garcia. We're heading to the 9th. The Yankees lead 6-4. A look at, as Kenny said, the longest building on the East Coast. And there are a lot of beautiful new ballparks, but The setting they have here at Camden Yards is something special. It's 11th year. And these two teams have had some knockdown, drag-out battles, the Orioles and the Yankees. Jeter to lead it off against the Oriole closer, hard-throwing Jorge Julio. The Orioles haven't won a lot of games lately, so Mike Hargrove sends his closer out there. There's a look at his season record. Rather high walk total, but he has 16 saves.
That first fastball was 98 miles an hour, according to the scoreboard here. That last one, well, he's tiring. That was 97.
As you saw the line score, Derek Jeter 2 for 4 tonight. Yankees have 6 runs, 12 hits. They've committed 3 errors. Deivi Cruz, sure-handed shortstop, gobbles it up. Jeter's retired. 1 away in the 9th. Tomorrow night on Yes, the Yankees will take on the Orioles again. Game 2 of 3 here from Camden Yards. Our complete coverage will begin at 6:30 with Fred Hickman, the Yankees pregame, and then join Ken Singleton and me. We'll call all the action at 7 o'clock. Yankees versus Orioles tomorrow night starting at 6:30 only on Yes. The ex-Oriole Mike Messina will toe the rubber for the Yankees, and last year's rookie sensation Rodrigo Lopez has been fighting his way back from injuries this year, just 1 and 4. Giambi takes a strike. Ball and strike. I mentioned the line score. The Yankees have scored in just 3 innings. Mariano getting ready to come in and try to save it. 2-run homer by Garcia, 3-run homer by Sierra. The difference, 2 more of those spare parts.
They were talking about yesterday's reunion game, and we did have batting practice before the game, and I'm thinking about Giambi's shot off the wall. It took everything I had to get the ball in a warning track. Yeah. And you know, he made it look easy by hitting that shot off the wall. But his last time up, yeah, in the 7th inning.
Top of the 9th, 1 out. Yankees lead by a pair, along with Ken Singleton, who was here for the 20-year celebration yesterday. The Orioles World Series winning team. I'm Jim Kaat, bringing you the action here on Yes, and we'll have all 3 games for you as the count goes full to Giambi tomorrow night at 7:05, and then Wednesday afternoon an unusual 3 o'clock start. David Wells will be the pitcher in that one against Jason Johnson.
Yeah, that sort of thing yesterday in batting practice made me think about how easy it used to be just to hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, just get up there, boom, and it's gone. And it kind of reminds me now that once it's gone, it is gone. You don't get it back.
Never be what you once were.
That's true. At least as far as hitting a baseball is concerned.
Foul out of play, still 3-2. Well, when you're in the prime of your career, and I think this is true of athletes in all sports, it almost seems like everything is slow motion. You know, in my 20s, I'd hear people say, oh, boy, but this guy throws hard. But it didn't look that fast to you. But now, when you stand, Giambi draws another walk. He's reached base 4 times tonight. Let's check out with 1 out here in the 9th, and the Yankees up by a pair. Let's check out our Continental Airlines play of the game, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right.
Now with nobody out in the top of the 7th, 2 men off for Ruben Sierra. With 1 swing of the bat, he erases a 4-3 deficit and gives the Yankees a 6-4 lead. That's our Continental Airlines play of the game.
That was Ruben's only at bat from the right side of the plate. Now he switches around again to the left side. Low for a ball. Yeah, when you stand around the batting cage, at least when I do, or when I see guys play catch, everything is in double time. Years ago, it seemed like it was in slow motion. Big swing, no contact, 1-1.
That pitch was away from Sierra and sinking too.
Well, it's one thing if you try to pitch him outside and you make a mistake. Everybody's going to make mistakes, but I've seen now in the last couple of weeks teams actually set up inside to Sierra. Right there. You can throw it there all day long, and his chances of hitting it are slim, but you get something middle in, and that's, you know, most hitters make their living off mistakes anyway.
Yeah, well, it looks as though Fordyce has learned from his mistake the last time up.
Just outside, 2-2. Matsui with some camera people in the background. He gets a lot of exposure, even when he's 0 for 4. Full count. That's what did in Sidney Ponson, who left the game. The Orioles starter left the game with a 1-run lead, and he battled his way through 6 innings, but so many full counts and so many pitches in the early part of the game. Mike Hargrove had to make a change.
You think that influenced him to come get him with the...
I think so.
Yeah.
Toward Conine to Cruz for 1. Back to Conine for 2. The difficult 3-6-3 double play ends the 9th for the Yankees. But Sierra has done his damage. A 3-run homer in the 7th inning. And that has given the Yankees a 6-4 lead. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Mariano Rivera will come on to try to save it.
Open the cover on another season of Yankees Magazine on Yes. It's everything Yankees, including an inside look at what it's like to be a Bronx Bomber.
Not only being a champion, but being a champion on a team so rich in tradition and history as the Yankees made it even more special.
Plus, insight from coaches, cover stories, quick looks, and spotlights.
Every moment's a big moment for me.
For cover-to-cover coverage of the 26-time world champion Yankees, watch Yankees Magazine, only on Yes. Exclusively from the home of champions, it's Yankeeography, the Yes Network's Emmy-winning series that brings you true stories of true legends.
Mantle had gifts from God, literally.
Yankeeography, only on Yes.
Well, we're back at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and it's time to check out our player of the game. It's brought to you by Saab. Welcome to a state of independence. I wonder who that player of the game could be.
Well, he hasn't been with the team for more than a week, and Karim Garcia with a 2-run homer early in the ball game. That came in the 5th inning, but it was his outstanding defensive work, sliding catch. The Orioles failed to score. They had a runner on second that ended an inning, and then he made a great throw to second to throw out Brooke Fordyce, who was attempting to get in there with a leadoff double. So Garcia's had a nice all-around ball game.
Acquired from the Cleveland Indians along with Danny Maselli. And Mariano comes on for the 26th time. 14 saves, only 4 walks, strike out an inning, and a lot has been made of all the innings he's pitched in the last week. Goodness, you'd think if a pitcher pitched 8 innings a week, his arm would fall off. I mean, with his free and easy motion, and he doesn't have to work too hard. He had to labor a bit in that testy 9-8 win Saturday night at Shea Stadium. But with that loose, easy motion, he looks like he could pitch 2 innings a night all season long. And he'll face the part of the Oriole lineup that can do some damage. Conine, Gibbons, and Batista. Good job by Chris Hammond shutting down the Orioles in the 7th and 8th inning, thanks to some good play by Karim Garcia. High for a ball.
Of those 3 hitters, Conine has actually done the best against Mariano in the past. He's 3 for 10 with a double and a home run.
In for strike 1-1. That does not surprise me. First of all, right-handers do a little bit better against Mariano with that cutter breaking away. And Jeff Conine, who was a world-class racquetball player, and if you've ever played that game. You know, it's a short, compact swing, and that's what he has. And they're trying to keep that ball inside on him. 2-1.
95 on that last one, according to the radar gun here at Camden Yards.
Grounded toward third. Ventura. Off balance throw to Giambi in time. 1 away. Yankees 2 outs away from their 8th consecutive win. And after the game, stay with us on Yes for the Nissan postgame. Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman. They'll have detailed analysis of tonight's game, interviews with the players, scores, and highlights from around the league. The Nissan postgame immediately following our game right here on Yes. Gibbons takes inside for the ball. Andy Pettitte gave the Yankees a chance to win this game despite giving up the 12 hits, 10 hits, I believe, in 6 innings, walked 3. But he made a miraculous play on a comeback or a recovery play. Fouled out of play 1-1. And the Yankee, he actually worked out of a bases loaded jam in the 4th. And then a 2-out jam in the 5th, and that's what kept it a 4-3 ball game and gave the Yankees a chance to come back on Sierra's 3-run homer. Oh, off the glove of Ventura, and Gibbons going to have his 3rd hit of the night. Unless they score that an error.
That ball had a little bit too much starch on it. I think Gibbons is going to get a base hit. You were talking about managers taking pitchers out after that they get into that 3rd jam, and that's exactly what Joe Torre did with Andy Pettitte. Off the glove of Ventura, and he'll retrieve it. Gibbons will stop it first, but that will bring the tying run to the plate.
And that's Tony Batista, who was the leading home run hitter for the Orioles. On the handle, pop foul near the dugout. Giambi will reach in and run out of room. Was scored a base hit. The Orioles have actually out-hit the Yankees 14-12.
Here is Giambi coming over towards the line, and like many of the newer ballparks, not much room in foul territory. They want fans to be close to the action, and that is just the case here at the Camden Yards.
Same pitch, foul back, 0-2. The Orioles have left 11 men on. Mentioned the bases loaded jam Pettitte worked out of, then 2 out in the next inning. And he got out of that.
Well, they have left a man on base in every inning but the 1st inning. So this has not been a pitching clinic for the Yankees tonight. Maybe a little Houdini by some of the Yankee pitchers. Getting out of trouble.
Down the left field line, that'll be fair. Garcia bobbles this one, and that's going to allow Batista to get to second, and Gibbons will score. It's a 1-run game. Karim Garcia, who had been the fielding star, makes a costly error there to allow the tying run to get into scoring position.
Well, the Yankees have made their 4th error of the game. And this bobble will allow Gibbons to score, and it'll move Batista to second. They're now going to have a pinch runner. Looks like Jose Morbon. But here's Gibbons. He stops, and now Tom Trebelhorn, the third base coach, will send him home, and it's a 6-5 ball game. So no run batted in for Batista.
Second hit of the night for Tony Batista in the 4th error by the Yankees. So with Jose Morbon, the rookie with a little more speed than Batista at second base, he's the tying run, and here's the always tough B.J. Surhoff. Low for a ball. Now this is, of all the games we've come down to do at Camden Yards. This is a typical Yankee-Oriole game. High scoring. Always seems to come down to that last hitter. In for a strike, 1-1.
In their careers, Sir Hoff has seen Mariano 9 times, and he has never had a hit. 9 at-bats without a hit.
He wishes he was a switch hitter so he could hit right-handed. 38,000 on hand. Most have stuck around for an exciting 9th inning. Grounded toward Giambi. It's fair. He makes the play unassisted. Morbon moves up 90 feet, and the Orioles have the tying run at third base with 2 out. And Deivi Cruz coming to the plate. Time to cool down. It was Cruz's 2-run homer off Andy Pettitte in the 4th that gave the Orioles a 4-1 lead. He's only faced Mariano 3 times. He does have a hit. On the corner for a strike. 6, 12, and 4 for the Yankees. 4 errors. Orioles 5-15-0. They have left 11. Poke foul, and the Orioles down to their last strike. We got the big blow. Ruben Sierra, 3-run shot in the 7th inning off DJ Ryan. It'd be Pettitte's game to win, Ryan's to lose, and Yankee fans here at Oriole Park are on their feet. Towards Soriano at second. To Giambi in time, and Mariano Rivera comes on to save his 15th game of the year. The Yankees win their 8th. And Garcia, despite the error in the 9th, contributes with a 2-run homer, a couple of fine fielding plays. And the Yankees now run their record to 52-30. This officially is the start of the second half of the season. And the Yankees win the first game of that second half. We'll come back to Baltimore and wrap this one up. The Yankees win it 6-5 with the home run ball.